May 26th. His trailer was found May 27th on Indy's southeast side, and his truck was found 2 days later just around the block. Indianapolis Metro Police started investigating Perry's disappearance last week, and by Saturday, officers arrested Perry's 17-year-old son, David. Detectives say they have physical evidence and video footage against David Perry, but he should still be considered innocent until proven guilty. Donnie Burgess, 93 WIBC Mobile News.
You'll see a heavy police presence if you plan to go to downtown Indy for the U.S. Olympic swimming trials next weekend. Officer William Young tells Wish TV it's all part of a plan.
We put on this uniform every day because we enjoy serving the citizens of Indianapolis and those who visit our city.
He won't expound on what that plan is, but he says that they rely on a lot of experience since Indy hosts a lot of big sporting events. 2 people are facing charges for running an illegal online gambling operation out of Morgan County. Robert Vincent and Timothy Van Wanzele are charged with felony counts of money laundering, promoting professional gambling, and more. Shoulder soreness led to Colts quarterback Anthony Richardson sitting out of the last day of mandatory minicamp. Overall, though, it's of no concern for him.
It's hard to listen to the trainers sometimes. They're like, nah, you got to sit out for a day. I don't want to sit out, but it's part of the health journey. He's been dealing with shoulder issues since last season. Head coach Shan Steichen says that he will likely be ready for training camp. Traffic on the 5s, Matt Baer.
All right, Kurt, westbound 70 at Hancock County is closed a couple of miles after State Road 9 Greenfield. This is because of a crash. All lanes blocked at County Road 200 West with traffic stop back to State Road 9 US 40, the preferred reroute. Westbound 70 slow from Emerson Avenue to Rural Street, Keystone Avenue. Traffic continues to reroute around that southeast side closure of southbound 465 from I-70 down to I-65. Should reopen that 9-mile stretch of that southbound side. Should reopen June 21st, give or take with the weather. Traffic sponsored by Hot Rod Magazine's Hot Rod Power Tour. A Hot Rod Power Tour driven by Continental will be at the Lucas Oil Indianapolis Raceway Park, Indianapolis, Indiana, Friday, June 14th. Register now at hotpowertour.us. I'm Matt Baer. Follow us for instant traffic updates at WIBC Traffic.
I'm John Morgan of Morgan & Morgan. Don't be impressed when you hear someone settle their case for what may seem like lots of money. $500,000 seems like lots of money until you learn they lost both legs, had a brain injury, or were paralyzed and can never work again. All law firms are not the same. To see what your case may be worth, go to forthepeople.com and look at our verdicts and settlements for cases just like yours. Look before you leave. Hire the right lawyer. Morgan & Morgan.
Visit forthepeople.com for an office near you.
At Uline, they know going the extra mile takes hard work. For companies pushing to go further, Uline will go the distance with you. 24/7, they answer the phone to get you the shipping and industrial supplies you need. Business can move fast. Unexpected large order, safety guidelines, and changing economic trends. Uline works hard keeping 41,000 items ready to ship, minimizing detours on your way to the extra mile. Visit uline.com.
Up to 50% off on all of our windows and doors, plus 12 months, no payments, no interest. It's our great granddaddy of a sale.
The forecast from the American Standard Cooling Weather Center.
This Friday, we're looking at a nice sunny day outside in the morning hours with a few clouds towards the afternoon. High temperature reaching around 80 degrees, but we'll have low humidity and some breezy conditions will make it feel cooler. I'm Wish TV Storm Track 8 meteorologist Turner Sutis for 93 WIBC.
67 and sunny on Monument Circle. I'm Kurt Darling on the level, on the go, and on WIBC.com.
You're listening to Rob Kendall. When we talk about sending money somewhere, we're talking about printing the money because we have no money. And Casey Daniels.
My government would never lie to me, would they?
On 93 WIBC.
Casey, not to make this like some sort of Orson Welles War of the Worlds type of announcement to the public at large, but I am beginning the show today rather concerned.
What's going on?
Well, there are a slew of people bombarding Monument Circle with tents and trucks and signage.
Yeah.
And I have no idea what's going on, and quite frankly, it has me a little concerned.
You're not talking about Spark, and you're not talking about the market that's down there. This is something else.
No. They've destroyed, Hogshead has destroyed downtown enough with his stupid, goofy-ass ideas that don't really do anything for anyone. No. This is a slew of people, and I saw a Jack's Donut vendor down there. There was the Salvation Army appeared to have something down there. They are just bombarding Monument Circle with people, and I am fearful for my existence.
You know what they're doing.
No, I have no idea. That's why I started the show with it.
They're celebrating National Donut Day, which is today.
Oh, wow.
Donut Day.
Kylan, you were just giddy over. I mean,
I'm so excited.
I felt Kylan is in for Kevin today. I felt relatively secure that it was not an alien invasion of some sort or whatever, or a military exercise, because you seemed rather at peace, not only at peace, but enthusiastic about what was taking place on Monument Circle.
It's the first thing I'm saying to people as I go through the hallway. I saw Kurt Darling, Happy Donut Day. Saw Greg Rayshaw, Happy Donut Day.
What does this mean?
You
What
were
is
talking
this?
about this yesterday, even.
Yes, oh my gosh, I'm so excited for Donut Day.
And you
Have
weigh
you
weigh like 2 pounds. You are the last person who I would think would consume a donut.
Last year, I swear I ate at least a dozen myself.
Good for you.
Very excited. It's a national holiday for me and a lot of people. Have you never heard of Donut Day?
Well, okay, so this is my question. We used to do something here with Tony Katz with Donut Day where is this the same thing where he was on
Well,
the
he was
circle?
off today, so maybe he's celebrating quietly at home.
He's observing.
Yeah, he's observing this on his own time.
Didn't he used to do something on Monument Circle? And there's a famous photo also even before that of Hammer when he was promotions director behind Mike Pence. Did we used to participate in this, and have we opted out, or are we no longer a part? Is Tony that afraid of COVID still that he's not doing this anymore? What
donut in one hand, cigar in
is
the
this
other?
something different that he's protesting for? What is this the same thing?
It is completely different.
Oh,
and honestly, a
okay.
little bit. Well, I'm not going to put judgment out there.
No,
but
this is the right show to judge. This is the perfect show to
That's what
judge
we do
other
here,
people.
Kylan.
Have you heard of the Donut Lassies?
The who?
The Donut Lassies, the women who fried donuts and dodged bombs all at the same time on the front lines of World War I.
Yeah, they were volunteers, and they traveled around France, and they cared for wounded soldiers during World War I.
Wait. So they were like, hey, hope you don't get hit by a cannonball. Here's a fried donut. And this lady was the equivalent of grilling out, but she was dunking donuts as she was avoiding mustard gas and bullets.
Exactly.
And
Their nickname came from the habit of making donuts to boost soldiers' morale.
oh yeah,
Comfort food.
yeah.
Yes, that's it exactly.
Hey, you might step on a landmine today. Here's a fried donut.
But here's the
It
thing.
boosts my morale.
Yeah, it boosts Kylan's morale. It could do the same thing for you. Get a little sugar high.
Because the thing Tony used to do was in the fall, I think. So this
Different
is
thing.
This is not the same thing. What is at our disposal? Do you just walk around and get free donuts? Is this a commerce exchange? What is going on?
Well,
There's a couple different things.
If you stop by Dunkin' Donuts today and you get a coffee or any other drink, you get a free classic donut.
This
My
doesn't help me
favorite-
downtown, though. What's going on downtown?
So what you have is free Jack's Donuts from the Salvation Army. They're celebrating the Salvation Army lassies
Oh, yeah.
going into the front lines and everything. And so they're providing free Jack Donuts until, as supplies last. So if I go down there, then there won't be much more left. But from 9 a.m., I think until 3 p.m., they're giving out free donuts.
Kylan,
So
I
just
have
get there.
I have a challenge for you if you're willing to accept it.
All right.
And I get
What's my mission?
Well, see, you're so perky and excited. Kevin would see she's already doing better than Kevin.
I know.
Kevin would be angry and would be upset that he has to do any actual work. James Briggs is coming in at 9:30 from Indy Star. We're going to have a fascinating conversation about the MLS stadium. He is all on board with Hogshead in the city and go. And I think it's going to be a great conversation. I think I can man the board during that conversation. And I think once we get into our conversation, perhaps we can disperse you to Monument Circle to hoard donuts for the show.
Skip on down there and get some donuts for everyone.
My face is flushed. I'm so excited. If you aren't able to get down to the circle and get free Jack's Donuts, there are a couple other deals. Can I mention them?
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. Krispy Kreme being my favorite because we have one here in Indy now, up in Castleton. You can
Wait,
get
we have one now. We've always, as a kid, I distinctly remember going to Krispy Kreme donuts. Did they go away?
I think they went away because they just had their grand opening 2 years ago.
I'm certain. Now, maybe this is the thing like where I imagined playing basketball on the Indy 500 where the Pacers were playing. But I am certain as a child there was a Krispy Kreme Donuts on 38th Street. I'm certain. Someone can correct me if I'm wrong on that, but I am certain that I remember going to a Krispy Kreme donut.
It sounds like you're sugar high.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You could go today and get your free donut.
So I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. Go ahead.
You just walk in and get a free donut.
At Krispy Kreme.
That's
You just say, I'm here.
literally
Hello?
For donut day.
Yep.
All right, so that's what we're going to do. 9:30, Kylan's going to invade the circle while we talk to Briggs. From one thing that will give you diabetes, the donuts, to another thing that might give you the diabetes, the Pepsi.
Yeah, well, actually, it's the Dr. Pepper. Dr. Pepper just passed Pepsi as the second biggest soda brand. Dr. Pepper highlighting their shift in consumer tastes.
Okay, so
I know you're a Pepsi drinker.
Well, here's what
step up your game.
Here's what I do, Casey, and I have I discovered this as a small boy. What happened was my parents were very involved in the Little League when I was a kid. My dad was what they called like the league director, which meant he kind of whatever league I was in, he would oversee, make sure there were umpires and coaches and all these sorts of things. And so I had not a key to the concession stand, but had access to the concession stand a lot. And as a kid, I there are moments, where like in the cartoon, the light will go off on over somebody's head. As a kid, I distinctly remember this. What if when I had unlimited access to the concession stand, what if I just mixed all the flavors together? What would happen? And it was as though a new frontier had opened up. It was a brave new world that you could mix all the flavors together and get some sort of super crazy soda that you couldn't get anywhere else.
Yeah.
And so henceforth, anytime I am in a restaurant, you will see me, including yesterday as I stopped at the Brownsburg Dairy Queen for lunch, I will mix the flavors together to fulfill the thing that I discovered as a young boy, that I could create my own super secret soda. So it will always be, and here is my mixture of what I do, Casey. This is amazing. It's like worlds are colliding here. I will always take whatever, it's always either a Coke or a Pepsi fountain. So I will always take the diet of whatever the thing is to limit the calories that I consume.
Of course.
I will then mix after that whatever the product is. So if it's Coke, it'll be Diet Coke, then Coke. If it's Pepsi, like at the Dairy Queen, it'll be Diet Pepsi, then Pepsi. And then you top it off with a Dr. Pepper. So you get this flavor, yet you don't have all the calories, and it's something you can't get anywhere else. And that is, in fact, what I did yesterday. It was like the worlds are colliding. Dr. Pepper and Pepsi. And what are you telling me now? Dr. Pepper is now more popular than Pepsi?
It is. So it's always been Coke and Pepsi, right? But now it's Coke and Dr. Pepper. Of course, Dr. Pepper with their unique blend of 23 flavors. But this really showcases that even an established giant, big brand like Pepsi, can be challenged. And you just have to stay bold and unique and responsive to trends if you want to stay on top, right?
Okay, so according to the internet, because it's always, I know Coke owns certain products and Pepsi owns certain products. According to the internet, which why would they lie?
Right.
Keurig owns Dr. Pepper. It is the Keurig Dr. Pepper company, which they purchased as part of an $18.7 billion deal from Snapple. So it is, I guess, not owned by either Coca-Cola or Pepsi. It's its own thing.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
That is kind of an indictment of Pepsi, is it not?
Well, you got to think about this. Pepsi's been focusing on their zero sugar beverages and also their broader food business. So did they take their eye off the ball? Did they dilute their soda sales by focusing on other products?
We can come back to this in a second. Miriam in the YouTube chat. By the way, you can watch us on the YouTube. Just put Kendall and Casey into your YouTube browser. Miriam in the YouTube chat says there was definitely a Krispy Kreme on 38th Street just east of Moeller Road and on the north side of 38th. Boom! Thank you.
Your memory was correct this time.
I knew it.
Yeah.
So they must have gone away and are coming back sort of thing. I don't know.
A re-grand opening.
Maybe, perhaps. But anyway, so that's fascinating that Pepsi is not even number
2.
Not even number 2 anymore.
Not number 2. They're still number 3, however. And you had mentioned Dairy Queen, that you went to a Dairy Queen yesterday. Do you know how many Dairy Queens there are in the great state of Indiana?
Woo, buddy. Now, we had the conversation about McDonald's yesterday.
McDonald's leads the pack.
Yeah, well, that's all right.
353 McDonald's locations.
353 McDonald's. Okay, so I will say there is a third as many Dairy Queens as there are McDonald's. I'll say 120.
You're close, 198 spots.
That's not close at all. What do you mean I was close? I was 70-some off.
Well, you're in the hundreds
That's
at least.
fascinating that there are almost 2/3 as many Dairy Queens as there are McDonald's. I would not have thought that was a thing.
Burger King has 190 venues in the state of Indiana. And as far as fast food goes...
Wait. There's almost as many Dairy Queens as there are Burger Kings?
There's more Dairy Queens, in fact. 8 more.
That's unbelievable.
Yeah.
I know we have to get to a break, and we are so long on this, but can I tell you just a fascinating story? Because we're going to talk about the elections in Indiana when we come back, and what our elections in the state are a complete embarrassment. But when I used to man the polling location, when I was a precinct committeeman, which we got a question about that the other day, one of the ladies that we had who worked as a clerk at my polling location, I had to get the election workers, her father, for years, there is a Dairy Queen on Main Street in Brownsburg. And for years and years and years, and this is no longer applicable, but for years and years and years, her family owned that Dairy Queen. And we were just sitting there in the downtime between when people were coming in to vote, and we started shooting the breeze. And this lady was older at the time, I don't know, maybe 70s. She told me that her father, I said, how did you get into your family get into the Dairy Queen business? And she said, my father won the Dairy Queen in a poker game in 1950. I don't remember what the year is.
Yeah.
It was across the street from where the Dairy Queen sits now. It was one of the, I guess Dairy Queen was originally like a standalone, little, almost like trailer type of thing. And he was playing in some poker game.
Somebody went all in.
And the guy didn't have applicable cash and threw the Dairy Queen in, and the guy won the Dairy Queen as part of the poker game.
Fantastic.
What a story, right?
Yeah, exactly. Indiana has 46.37 fast food restaurants for every 100,000 resident, making us 6th in the nation for fast food joints.
Okay, when we come back, Capitol Chronicle has an incredible story about how stupid our elections are and about how the Republican Party wants everybody to pay for their stuff, but they don't want you to be able to participate in our stuff. This story is unbelievable.
It's on the way with Kendall and Casey on 93 WIBC.
Tony Katz.
Do they still do mail in Carmel?
Carmel, don't ever change.
I love the living statues that sit on the benches. They're awesome.
Yes, that's how people from Greenwood earn extra money. Oh, I'm going to get emails. What have I done? You know everybody here is just in debt and house poor up to their ass. Don't you laugh, Zionsville. You have it worse. $1.13 trillion of credit card debt. Half of that is on the west side of Carmel.
Tony Katz, mornings 6 to 9 on 93 WIBC and WIBC.com.
Getting quality employees to fill positions in your company is essential, but finding those people can be a major hassle unless you use ZipRecruiter. ZipRecruiter makes finding quality people a breeze. ZipRecruiter's advanced technology identifies candidates with the right skills, sends you great matches, then you can easily invite them to apply. 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. See for yourself. Go to ZipRecruiter.com/free to try ZipRecruiter for free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free.
The deals and specials are sizzling hot. It's the Central Indiana Gun and Knife Show this Saturday and Sunday at the Tippecanoe County Fairgrounds in Lafayette. The best dealers in the region will be at the Central Indiana Gun and Knife Show. Just $6 for adults. Kids 12 and under get in free. Must be 18 or accompanied by an adult. Buy, sell, trade. This Saturday, 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. and Sunday, 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. at the Tippecanoe County Fairgrounds in Lafayette. For more info, visit CentralIndianaGunShows.com.
When you're drinking a frozen beverage from McDonald's, your brain may not like how refreshingly cold it is. But the rest of your body, oh yes, it's gonna relish every moment of it. Because there are drinks. Then there are drinks from McDonald's.
With options this good, you'll get chills just thinking about them. Now grab any size soft drink for $1.39 and any size frozen drink like a frozen Coke for $2. Price and participation may vary.
Ba-da-ba-ba-ba.
The doctor's office that accidentally mixed up your files has your social security number. The power company that mistakenly cut your service has your payment info. And the hotel that lost your reservation has your passport number. You need LifeLock because your personal info is in endless places that can expose you to identity thieves. LifeLock monitors hundreds of millions of data points every second. If your identity is stolen, we'll fix it, guaranteed or your money back. Save up to 40% with promo code NEWS at LifeLock.com. Terms apply.
Want to explore using Mitsubishi electric ductless mini splits to heat and cool your home or business? Learn more at AbsoluteComfort.org. That's AbsoluteComfort.org.
It's the Kendall and Casey Show.
You know what? I will have some meatloaf. Let's have some meatloaf.
You want some?
I need... Hey, Mom!
The meatloaf! We want it now!
On 93 WYPC.
Casey, our elections in this state are a complete embarrassment.
What say you?
It is just, and it gets worse. It somehow manages to seemingly get worse by the day. Okay, so first of all, Indiana Capital Chronicle has this story out, and it is unbelievable. But before we get into that, I do want to let everybody know our pal Ken Colbert, who has been on the show the past couple days. They kicked him off and didn't let him. He's not going to now be a delegate at the state convention.
Really? What reason did they cite?
Well, they did have to acknowledge he had a right to free speech, which was amazing. So if you missed the last couple shows, Ken Colbert is a delegate from Evansville. He was going to vote for Micah Beckwith because, of course, the establishment does not want people voting for Micah Beckwith. They challenged this guy who was elected and certified as a delegate. He was elected and certified as a delegate, and then after being elected and certified, elected by the people, he got the votes. They said, no, you're not a Republican in good standing. And even though he had, in all the rules, he had voted in the primaries, because, here's what they hung their hat on, Casey, according to Ken, he had given money to a non-Republican candidate.
Okay.
They said, you're out of here.
That makes him not a good standing.
He met all the voting requirements. He was elected. Nobody challenged him. He was certified, and then they just threw him out so he doesn't get to vote. This is why people don't trust elections.
Yeah.
The Republicans in Indiana are doing the same thing to Ken Colbert that they're accusing other people of doing to Donald Trump, right?
Yeah, exactly.
This is why people don't have confidence in the elections. It's not because of Dominion. It's because of the crap you Republicans pull because you don't like who he's going to vote for at convention.
It's crazy. It seems like they're moving the target of what good standing is.
And even if they could have challenged and beat him based on this horrible, stupid 2 primary rule thing, that window had come and gone. You had your chance to challenge the guy.
Right before he was certified.
You would have lost that one anyway because he had voted in the primaries. The elections don't matter. The parties don't matter. The whole thing is rigged, and they are stealing the election from Micah Beckwith right in front of us.
Yep, they didn't like the fact that he was going to be a delegate for Micah.
I guarantee if he had been a Mike Braun voter or a passionate Mike Braun guy, oh, buddy, he would have.
a different story.
He would have been in like Flint, as this saying goes. All right, so the story from the Capital Chronicle. We're supposedly have what's called an open primary here, basically, which is you can walk up at every primary and say, please give me a Democrat or Republican ballot. And that is your choice. That is your business. And as it should be, based on the fact that Republicans and Democrats in Indiana have admitted we are too incompetent to run our own elections without stealing money from the taxpayers. That's what the primary system is. Libertarians do it just fine. Nominate their own candidates at convention, doesn't cost taxpayers anything. Republicans and Democrats are incapable of doing that, so they must take money, extract money from the taxpayers to fund their private party business. Now, as we found with Ken Colbert, they can just void the results whenever they want. So I guess that's all just a big sham anyway. But this story in Capital Chronicle about this guy from Tell City who shows up, he was from Kentucky, I believe.
Yeah.
Had never voted in a
Indiana primary or election. He didn't live here.
In an Indiana primary. But apparently, because he was in a known relationship with the mayor of Tell City, who is a Democrat, they tried to challenge his vote on the spot when he voted on Election Day.
So he had moved from Kentucky to Indiana. He went in to go vote, and the poll worker said, no, wait a minute. I think you're a Democrat, and you're trying to vote on a Republican ticket.
Right? What damn business is it of hers who he is married to, who he or in a relationship with, or shares a bedroom with, or anything else? Your job, election worker, because you Republicans and Democrats have set this up that we are too incompetent to run our own elections without taxpayer money, is to do what I tell you in terms of what ballot I would like to pull. It is none of your damn business why or who or what party I want to vote for. You guys have set the rules up. I'll tell you who I want to vote for. Give me the ballot.
So he said that he felt targeted and intimidated by the poll worker when he went to cast a Republican ballot during the primary.
Yes. So this lady essentially says, I know who your, partner, husband, wife, whatever, who I know you're in a relationship allegedly with the mayor of this city, and this person's a Democrat, and so I believe you're trying to pull shenanigans because remember there was that group
and they put billboards up all over the state,
which is crazy because they were endorsing Chambers, Holcomb's guy. That tells you everything you need to know about Chambers and Holcomb. That the Democrats are saying, "Hey, pull a ballot for this guy because he's going to be the most like us." And so this lady goes, "Well, I can't stop you from voting, but I'm going to challenge your vote because I don't believe," and this is the crazy thing. So there's some sort of thing, I guess, that when you go take a Democrat or Republican ballot, you have to if you get challenged, sign this form or you don't get to vote.
Right there on the spot.
Yeah, you have to sign this form that's saying under some sort of penalty of perjury, basically, that I intend to vote for the majority of this party in the general election. What the hell is somebody like me supposed to do, Casey? I'd love to vote for Republicans in the general election if they would actually behave like the Republican Party platform. I'd love nothing more than to vote for all Republicans if they would actually do the things that they pledged to do in their party platform. The problem is most of them don't. So what am I supposed to do, Casey? I'm in a catch-22 here. I'd love to vote for the Republicans. They don't want to do the party platform. Am I supposed to just vote for people who don't do the party platform? Then I'm not agreeing with the party platform if I vote for people who aren't a part of the party platform.
Right, and then you won't be in good standing anymore either. Okay, so this poll worker said that she knew this guy had a right to vote Republican, but she also had a right to request his signature on the form challenging his vote.
Okay, so basically what the Republicans are saying now for me, even though I've been told I'm a Republican in good standing, is that unless the majority of my ballot, even if these are Republicans who are not doing the things that the Republican Party has promised to do, that I'm committing some sort of heinous act or criminal behavior if I don't vote for Republicans because they're raising taxes and growing government, which is in direct contrast to the Republican Party. So now, which primary am I supposed to vote in, Casey? But then if I don't vote or I vote Libertarian, which maybe I would vote for the majority of those candidates, then I am not a Republican in good. This is the most and Diego Morales is totally fine with this. He thinks this is okay.
And didn't he just put out that huge packet?
Yes, blow the whistle on voter intimidation.
Right, where he sent out the whistles and each packet cost, $1 billion to send out. So which side did Diego Morales fall on?
You can't, he said that, this is not voter, you can't make these people up. Our government is a joke and it is a disgrace. And you should be able, as long as the Republicans and Democrats are too incompetent or inept to pay for their own damn elections, you should be able to walk in and say, give me that ballot. And the job of that person is to give you the ballot and everybody go on their merry way.
It is Kendall Casey on 93 WIBC. And coming up, we're going to speak with your new friend, your new bestie, right? Your new frenemy?
James Briggs from the Indy Star is going to be with us. He's all in on Hogsett and the stadium and the MLS stadium approach. I think this is going to be an incredible conversation. And Kylan is going down to the circle to get us some donuts.
It's 93 WIBC.
Denny Smith here. The kickoff to summer sale at Sundown Gardens is this week. 30% off all pottery, fountains, and statues in stock. And what goes best with new pottery? The flowers to fill them. Save from 20 to 40% off all annuals in stock this week. Sundown Gardens wants to help you finish all your outside summer decorating. The greenhouse is still bursting with great annuals, hanging baskets, and more. Sundown Gardens at 186th Street and Spring Mill Road in Westfield. SundownGardens.com. That's SundownGardens.com.
93 WIBC Mobile News. On the level, on the go.
Discussing the aid. Radar is clear, sunny and 69 on Monument Circle. I'm Kirk Darling. Here's what's trending at 9:30. President Biden meeting with Ukraine's president while he's in Europe.
President Biden was speaking so softly in this sit-down with Volodymyr Zelensky in Paris that the press pool in the room thought he said that this new $225 million is going to be for a new Ukrainian electrical grid. White House officials had to step in and say, no, it's actually just for normal munitions that could be used to defend an electrical grid. But that is what the president was getting at. He also said that he is sorry for congressional Republicans back home holding up some of that aid.
Fox's Peter Ducey. The FDA is reversing its ban on Juul e-cigarettes. On Thursday, the FDA said it's reviewing new court decisions and updated information from the company. The FDA halted the product in 2022, but they stayed on shelves pending an appeal. The CDC reports e-cigarette use grew nearly 50% between January of 2020 and December of 2022. Your opening bell report on 93 WYBC brought to you by Absolute Wealth Management, LLC. Some bad starts to the day. The Dow is down 53 points at the opening bell to 38,902. The NASDAQ down 33 to 19,027. And the S&P 500 is down 13 to 5,350. I'm Kirk Darling on the level, on the go, and on WYBC.com.
Garage Doors of Indianapolis is everything that's right about Central Indiana. They've been locally family-owned for 50 years, helping our local economy remain strong by employing 70 families. Garage Doors of Indianapolis is proud to do business right here in the great state of Indiana. They're a conservative-minded company that shares our values and stands by their products and services. You can call Garage Doors of Indianapolis today for service today. 875-4577, 875-4577, or visit doorstoday.com.
Diamonds Direct has done it again. This month only, get ready for an offer you can't resist. Buy a natural diamond engagement ring of 1 carat plus and receive a free natural 1 carat diamond tennis bracelet valued at $2,000. That's right, a stunning diamond tennis bracelet at no extra cost. Imagine giving her the ring of her dreams and her wedding gift all at once. So hurry into Diamonds Direct. Your chance to get a free tennis bracelet will not last long. Details at diamondsdirect.com.
It's more important than ever to hire the right agent to sell your home to maximize its sales price. That is why I recommend Mark Dietl. Mark and his team have the plan and experience to sell your home fast for maximum cash. Maybe you want maximum equity from your home, but not sure how. Mark Dietl guarantees your home sold at a mutually agreed upon price and deadline, or he will buy it. Listen to what Jim and Jean in Whitestown had to say about working with Mark Dietl. Our 18-acre horse farm was a lot to manage, and we were ready to downsize. But selling a horse farm is unique. It takes the right agent and the right buyer, so we hired Mark Dietl. Mark aggressively marketed the property and found the right buyer with a super quick close. Call the local Indianapolis agent I trust and recommend, and the agent who guarantees your home sold, or he'll buy it. Call Mark Dietl, 317-755-4232 for all the details, or go online to markdietl.com. That's Mark, DIETEL.com. Tell him Rob sent you.
It's the first day of the first grade, and she found a new best friend. It's a laid-back Sunday afternoon, you wish would never end. The homemade taste of Bluebell and good friends gathered round. The good old days are being made right now.
Grab a frosty mug and try the newest flavor from Bluebell, A&W Root Beer Float Ice Cream. A creamy vanilla-flavored ice cream swirled together with an A&W Root Beer flavored sherbet. A new way to enjoy your favorite root beer float.
The good old days are being made right now. The good old days are being made right now.
Look for Bluebell ice cream at your local grocer and pick up your favorite flavor today.
A healthy weight, more energy, and smooth, regular bowel movements. 3 things everyone strives for.
It's me, Chuck Norris. There's one really important thing we don't talk about enough: our health. Achy joints, digestive issues, weight gain, and fatigue. We're told these are normal signs of aging. So working with a team of health experts, we came up with Morning Kick.
Morning Kick is a revolutionary formula combining 10 different supplements in one. Probiotics that help you lose weight, prebiotics for digestion, superfoods for muscles and joints, and several of the most powerful anti-aging supplements on earth. It'll help you feel youthful, energized, focused, and help manage stress.
Anybody can achieve great health regardless of their age.
Go to roundhouseprovisions.com. Use code EASY or text EASY to 511-511 and claim 40% off today.
Every purchase comes with our 90-day money-back guarantee.
Text EASY to 511-511. Morning Kick. These statements have not been evaluated by the FDA. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease. Tax fees may apply.
You're listening to the Kendall and Casey Show on 93 WYBC.
WIBC, it is the Kendall and Casey Show. I'm Rob. Casey's here, and I don't know if you're aware, Casey.
Yeah?
There's some controversy involving the mayor and the Indy 11.
Wait, what? What are you talking about? Is this new?
Well, and I just think this is such a fascinating thing because there's so many tentacles to this. Obviously, there is the team itself, the future of Major League Soccer in the city. There's the Indy 11. And then there's sort of the government aspect to it. It's sort of all things kind of molding together in this super interesting thing made for talk radio, right?
Right, exactly.
And our next guest has a different opinion on this, I think, than some of us do here at WIBC. Is James Briggs of the Indy Star. What's your title now? What are you?
So I'm an opinion editor, columnist. I generally just go by columnist, but I'm also the opinion editor. So I edit all the stuff that comes in, all the takes.
So I think your take on this is interesting. You're all in on Hogsett going forward for this Major League Soccer team.
Yeah, I mean, to me, I honestly, I have trouble seeing what the opposing view is. It's incredibly obvious. Either you want an MLS team in this city or you don't. And I think it's very clear that what the mayor has done is the only approach that's going to result in landing an MLS club. The Indy 11 owner has tried twice. He has been rejected both times. He doesn't have the money to do it. Hogsett got clear direction from MLS on what would make the city more likely to get an MLS club. He's doing that, and here we go.
James, I'm like you. I'm a soccer fan, and I love all the sports here in Indianapolis, kind of a branding of the town. We are the sports mecca of the country. I'm curious as to why you think it's a good idea. I just like it for the sport. Is there another reason why you're in favor of this?
Yeah, I think MLS in particular is a really fast-growing league. It's a chance to add a new pro team during the summer when right now you have just the Indiana Fever and the Indianapolis Indians, so there's a whole new season that you start bringing people downtown. Is adding a new stadium downtown and development that would obviously go along with that. So I think there's a lot of growth that would come along with it, but also there's just another level of status that comes when you bring another pro team to your city.
James Briggs from the Indy Star is our guest columnist from the Indy Star. Casey, go ahead.
Well, you mentioned the stadium, right? And that's where a lot of the controversy begins. So I guess let's start there. You think it's okay what Joe Hogsett has done, pretty much telling Indy 11, nope, sorry, we're done with you, we're moving on.
Yeah, so I always thought that the 11 Park idea was bad anyway. So I would have been here saying that the mayor should have done this even if there wasn't an MLS prospect. To me, the idea of building a 20,000 seat stadium for a minor league soccer team never made any sense to me, unless the plan all along was MLS. But there was never a viable path to MLS for Indy 11, so it just never made sense to me. And I think the mayor should have done it sooner even.
Okay, so I think this is where people get a little... By the way, are you surprised at the amount of people who are pro Indy 11 on this? Are you surprised, like at the city council meeting, that there's a room full of people who are for this minor league soccer team? Are you surprised at the passion that they have exuded?
No, because they have built something really cool. They've built a good culture over there. And it's been many, many years, even before there was actually a club here. There were supporters who loved soccer, wanted a club. Now they got it, and so they really have built something special. They love what they have. So no, I'm not surprised. I think that the noise has been disproportionate on that side because there's a lot of energy there, and you've seen the Indy 11 side paying for robotext for TV ads. It's like we're back in campaign season all of a sudden.
It doesn't seem to be doing much good.
Yeah, no, it didn't work. But that is where all the energy is. That's where the messaging campaign has been. And I think on the other side, you just have a bunch of normies out there who think it'd be cool to have MLS, but they're not out there, going to the council meeting or writing their counselors.
I think this is where a lot of people get sideways, which is, okay, your word is your bond. I think everybody believed in good faith. Now, I can't believe Ursula Ozdemir didn't get any of this in writing. I mean, that's 100% on him, and that's another story for another time. But if your word is your bond, and they were clearly moving forward with the understanding that the city wanted this, I think they feel like, and the fans of the team feel like, this rug got pulled out from under them without any transparency. Do they have a case?
I think there's some fairness to the way they feel. I think Ursal, he has built this dream of MLS in Indianapolis almost all by himself. And the city, to even have a shot to do this right now, it's standing on his shoulders. And I think there is some fairness to the feeling on his side, on Indy 11's side. But also, I think that what the mayor is doing is ruthlessly capitalistic. And if you're pro-growth and you want MLS here, I think you have to sort of respect the direction that he's going in to say, look, Indy 11 is never going to get it done. They're never going to get an MLS club. I have a chance, so I'm going to go do this.
How do you feel about the bill that was passed in 2019? To me, it reminds me of a little kid who goes to the candy store and just puts all their money on the counter and says, here, take what you need, whatever it costs. Because that bill was signed and there were no boundaries or regulations on which organization it could be used for or even which sport. And soccer was added at the end of the day. To a lot of people, it seems like Governor Holcomb signed a bill that said, okay, here's the money, do what you want.
Yeah, I've been a skeptic of that all along, but again, for me, it always went back to the purpose of it, which was Indy 11, and it never made sense to me to build a stadium for Indy 11. So I've always been skeptical of everything that's sort of gone into paving the path for Indy 11 to get a taxpayer-funded stadium. Just never made a lot of sense to me.
Well, that's the thing, though. They're saying now, well, we didn't specify it was for Indy 11. You can move that around within the city and use it for whoever you want. And now they're moving it to MLS.
Yeah, I defer to the lawyers to figure all that out. I'm not smart enough to read. I mean, obviously, the intent, the emotional intent at the time was that Indy 11 would get a stadium someday. As far as what that means to the legalities and like the law as it was crafted, I defer to other people on that.
James Briggs is our guest columnist with the Indy Star. So I think for me, this is, as a former elected official, this is the hang-up, is the hypocrisy of these people, because they gut tax increment finance across the state. Oh, this is bad. This is terrible. You local governments are stealing money from schools and children and police officers. And then they use it with vagary that local governments could have never dreamed of because they know it actually works.
Yeah, well, I think in this case you have a lot of soccer fans in government at the city and state level. So
who knew?
Do you have faith that Hogsett can pull this off? Because if it doesn't work, he's really screwed everything up, right?
Yeah, I think so. I think he had a 90-minute meeting with the MLS commissioner and came out on the path that he's on. So I think, reading into that, you can assume that the mayor got some very specific guidance from MLS on what the city could do to get a club, and I think he's doing it. So I think, if nothing else, that should give confidence. Although I do think, to my point earlier about the messaging campaign that went on the Indy 11 side, they kind of smoked the city as far as getting their message out, and the city was sort of sitting on its hands and didn't really do a lot of its own advocacy. So I think that's a little bit troubling that the mayor wasn't out in front of this a little bit more, talking about why this is the right path forward. I think he should have done more to convince people.
That is James Briggs, columnist from Indy Star. Okay, we're talking about MLS. Do you, with all of your contacts and information and journalism, do you know who the investor is?
No, I have no idea.
Doesn't that bother you a little bit?
Well, that was going to be the next question. Like, are we, the taxpayers, owed a little bit of transparency? They're making this big plan. They're moving locations, promise of a team coming, and it's going to be funded by somebody, but we can't tell you who it is.
Yeah, that's absolutely a legitimate concern, and I said this to people in the mayor's administration. I think that there should have been some names out there of who these people are. I think the argument against that being a big issue is that what the council has done and the city has done so far has not made any commitment to building a stadium. There will not be a commitment to building a stadium until we do know who these people are. So I guess that's the counter argument. But yeah, I want to know who these people are just like everyone else. And I think the people who are sort of hanging on that issue, I think that's fair.
But didn't they make a commitment to build a stadium with Indy 11? I mean, there were groundbreaking photos.
Yeah, and again, I would argue the mayor shouldn't have been there because it was a bad project. But yes, I mean, I think the city, when you show up at the groundbreaking, I think you are signaling that you're going to partner with this developer and with this club and build the stadium. So, I think you can call that a commitment.
So this is what kind of floors me about your opinion on this. I agree with you. Hey, Major League Soccer may be great for the city. You seem like a very decent guy. I'm looking forward to being frenemies for years to come. I think together you and I can combine our powers and totally take out the Republican Party for good for very different reasons. You seem like a good guy. Hogsett basically stabbed the Indy 11 and Ursula Özdemir in the back, and I just am so worried about anybody wanting to do business with our city going forward if this is the way you're going to be treated.
Yeah, I think there were some mistakes there. To me, the mistake was going along with the project to begin with, and as far as the mayor did, if I was advising the mayor, I would have said, don't go to that groundbreaking. This is a bad project, and I think just in a vacuum, that project was never going to work, in my opinion, without this MLS thing. But
the whole in your opinion, the whole development would have failed. The whole diamond chain, everything would have failed.
Yeah, I mean, there was a mixed-use element to it. It wasn't just a stadium, but they were anchoring around the idea that Indy 11 was going to be this club that was drawing 20,000 people, and to me, that was just never going to be the case. Their attendance now is under 10,000. Their attendance is inflated by free tickets, and so who knows how many people are actually paying for tickets there. It was just it's a minor league soccer club. It's a cool thing they've built, but it's a minor league soccer club, and it has limited interest.
So will Major League Soccer, because I don't know anything about soccer, right? I mean, to me, I get that it would be bigger, but is the Major League Soccer, the name Major League Soccer, a long enough attraction, or are there are that many more people who will care because it's Major League Soccer to make it work?
Yeah, I think so. We've seen it in other cities. You've seen St. Louis has a new club, and there's been a lot of excitement there. Charlotte has a new club. There's been a lot of excitement there. So cities in recent years that have added MLS clubs, there's been just a tremendous amount of enthusiasm, a lot of fans showing up. I think it's sort of helped development in those cities as well around the stadium. So, yeah, I think there's a lot of signs that this could be a good thing.
So if I'm reading between the lines, it sounds like to me you never thought Hogsett should have made that deal with Indy 11, and now he's cutting his losses, so to speak. But I guess the question is MLS sustainable?
Yeah, I mean, I think so. I don't, I can't cite any studies for you on this, but yeah, I certainly think so. And I think it's also, if you just look at development deals, they fall through all the time. And in most cases, it's the developer walking away and leaving cities hanging on whatever investment they might have made. And so I think if you were, Rob, as you are, like a fiscal conservative guy, I think when you're a city, you have to protect your interests. And if you have agreed to a bad deal, or if you're going along with the deal and you realize it's bad, walk away from it. I think you owe it to your taxpayers to make the best possible decisions. And I wish that the city would have determined a little bit earlier on that 11 Park wasn't a great idea. That's my view. But I think when you do come to that conclusion, you have to walk away. You can't just keep going along with it.
Okay, so we'll get you out of here with this. A year from now, where will we be with this? Will we have a Major League Soccer team? Will we have Major League Soccer in a stadium? Where do you think we're going to be a year from now?
I'm not sure if we'll have that answer in a year. I think the city will have submitted its application. I think we'll be in the running. I don't know if there'll be an answer yet, but my prediction ultimately is I do think the city's going to end up with an MLS club.
We're 1 for 1. Yeah. This is great.
In a year from now, will you and Rob be friends?
I know everyone at the station loves me and loves the Indy Star, so I feel so at home here, and I love being here with you all.
We always tell people everybody gets out in one piece. Look at you.
Yeah, I know. You're not injured currently, are you?
No, I feel great.
James Briggs from Indy Star. Thank you, my friend.
Yeah, thank you.
It's Kendall and Casey on 93 WIBC.
Tonight on the Tony Kinnett Cast, states declare they are no longer cooperating with the electric vehicle mandates, and several members of the squad in Congress turn on each other. Tune in at 7 p.m. right here or the podcast anytime.
Get out fast, get cash, sell your home in a flash. The IndyHomebuyer.com. No inspection, no fuss. We only need to see it once. The IndyHomebuyer.com. Problem properties, tenants don't pay. Just hand us some keys and your problems go away. Get out fast, get cash, sell your home in a flash. The IndyHomebuyer.com. Get out fast, get cash, sell your home in a flash. The IndyHomebuyer.com.
No matter your reason for selling, the IndyHomebuyer.com will pay cash for your house in any condition. If you're dealing with deadbeat tenants, big repairs, or inheritance, the IndyHomebuyer.com is the solution. No hassle, no inspections. The IndyHomebuyer.com.
Get out fast, get cash, sell your home in a flash. The IndyHomebuyer.com. Get out fast, get cash, sell your home in a flash. The IndyHomebuyer.com.
Transform your home with Galaxy Concrete Coatings. Say goodbye to cracked, stained floors and hello to durable, stunning surfaces that last. Their cutting-edge technology ensures a beautiful finish every time, and you get to pick out from their many colors. Upgrade your home today like I did. Galaxy Concrete Coatings. They're for garage floors, driveways, pool decks, and patios. They come with a lifetime warranty and one-day professional installation. Call now for a free estimate. 877-417-0635. They're also online at galaxyconcretecoatings.com.
Addiction. It's hard on those who struggle with it, but those who love the addict need support too. Matt Baer and Ryan Hedrick provide help and hope with Supporting Sobriety. Subscribe wherever you get your podcasts and on WIBC.com.
Did you see the latest that the governor's doing?
This is unbelievable, Casey.
He's got a new place to meet with his important business leaders, his international visitors, and his senior staff.
It is Kendall Casey Show. I'm Rob Casey's here. Okay, so these are the things that enrage me, Casey, because if you remember back in 2020, Donald Rainwater was the Libertarian running for governor, and he was clearly taking votes from Holcomb for a variety of reasons. And one of the areas, while much of the Rainwater stuff was centered around COVID and Holcomb's egregious response to COVID, which now by and large has been proven almost completely ineffective, and he was wrong about just about everything. But one of the things that was kind of a central point of Rainwater's conversation is he was talking about property taxes long before anybody else was, because the whole idea of the property tax is completely unjust and ridiculous, that you're never allowed to own your home. The idea that the government has a forever lien, a local government agency, or the state government, the state of Indiana, has a lien on your property that had nothing to do with you purchasing, that is ridiculous. And Rainwater was talking about in the debate, one of the debates, when he was allowed to participate. Now, he did so well the last time, they're going to just apparently maybe ice him out to keep him from doing well again. But he was pressing Holcomb on something with the size or scope of government. And Holcomb had the audacity to claim, and I believe the direct quote was, "We have cut state government to the bone."
Oh.
And the level of offensive on that in what is now a $44 billion budget.
I was just going to ask you, to the bone means $44 billion.
If the bone is a giant filet mignon with no bone in it whatsoever, then I guess you've cut to the bone. I mean, it is laughable. And then you see articles like this, and you go, these are the things that enrage me, Casey. It's not even the things we disagree on. It's just the blatant hypocrisy and lying from these people. Because Capital Chronicle has an article out saying they've done this $300,000 addition to Holcomb's, the governor's property, for the sole purpose of him being able to have meetings with the people. They have built a nice middle-class house onto the governor's residence just so he is an inconvenience by having to meet with people in his actual house.
And it's not even on his house. It's going to be attached to the estate's carriage house. So it's an addition on top of an addition. They're adding an extra 317 square feet for the low price of $300,000.
And they had the audacity to be like, it could have been more expensive. We cut some things out of it. It could have been worse. I mean, when the government tells you there's nowhere to cut, and then you see crap like this, well, we just found $300,000.
Yeah.
How much would that have helped the elderly and the poor and the fixed income people who are struggling to stay in their homes? There's $300,000. I remember years ago on those, when I was doing those Where'd Your Money Go segments for WIBC, which it's so much work. We really need to bring them back, but it's so much work. And you know how I hate work.
Well,
Casey.
you know where your money's going now, don't you?
I found something like $15 million that we could cut out of the state budget in like 5 minutes, Casey. I mean, it is so insulting when these people who know other people are hurting and act like, well, we'd love to help you out, but there's just nothing we can do. And they're doing, we're giving $500 million for the sole purpose of helping and enriching some of the largest, most powerful corporations in the world, Casey. And we are told there's no way to help people with property taxes.
Apparently, Holcomb wanted a place to meet with business leaders when Indiana hosts economic development and company visits. And they tried to, with limited funding.
Yes.
Of course,
limited
funding.
$44 billion limited funding.
They're trying to raise the game and make it a special type of visit. They're calling it Room 46 because it's near 46th Street.
Absolutely.
It's considered an extension of the governor's study. There weren't photos permitted inside the new space.
No money to help you with your property taxes, but there was $300,000 laying around to give Holcomb a new place to meet with people at.
Room 46.
You get the government you deserve, and if you people who just blindly vote Republican keep pulling the Republican lever, you're going to keep getting this crap because they don't fear you at all and they think you're a joke.
Okay, a lot of people are talking about Wheel of Fortune today and Pat Sajak's, because tonight at 7 o'clock is his last broadcast on the show. But we have to talk about what's going on the other game show that you watch at night, and that is Jeopardy.
That's right.
Yes, exactly. Boiler up. I don't know if you've seen this at all, but there has been a contestant, a Purdue archivist. Her name is Adriana Harmeyer. She won, I believe, her 7th game in a row last night.
Oh, wow. That's a lot.
Yeah, she's really representing the Hoosier State. Yes, from Purdue. Now, the dude went online once and took a test to try and see if he would qualify.
Sure.
And there's a little video that they walk you through.
The test launches after a 30-second countdown. You have 15 seconds to respond to each clue. Do not respond in the form of a question. Respond with last names only unless otherwise directed. You will not be penalized for minor misspellings. Do your best to be phonetically correct.
Lots of stipulations.
The test consists of 50 clues from 50 categories. Ready? Good luck.
I guess it's really hard. Like, you have to pass at a certain level online before they'll even consider you.
I have no doubt these people who win Jeopardy are Mensa level people. I mean, Eric Berman was on Jeopardy, who, of course, obviously was a news guy here for years and years and years. However, I think, and I'm not saying this just to be, Rob Kendall wacky radio guy. If the board fell right, like I'm saying, if I got the right types of topics, I think I could win a thing of Jeopardy. I think I'm well-rounded enough that if I got the right board where I could clean up on like one of the categories.
Like U.S. history or government.
Well, I'm saying, like, if it was Bruce Springsteen's favorite songs.
Right, there you go.
I think I could pull it up. Hey, when we come back, there is a township trustee in Indiana who has an incredible side job.
It's on the way.
Can we talk about this when we come back?
Yes, it's Kendall Casey. It's 93 WIBC.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm.
Is your timeshare suffocating you? Are you feeling powerless because you were sold a bad investment that is nothing like you were promised? I'm Chuck McDowell, founder of Wesley Financial Group. If you're ready to get rid of that timeshare, I'll send you our Timeshare Exit Information Kit free, exposing the timeshare industry scams with all your options for cancellation.
Call 800-653-1188. 800-653-1188. 800-653-1188.
Will you be the one? This summer, Shepherd Community will spend hundreds of hours with 200 kids, learning, adventuring, and experiencing life-transforming relationships. Help us make a difference for one child. For just $28, you can impact a child for one day at Shepherd. One moment, one relationship can make a difference in the life of a child. You can be the one. Visit shepherdcommunity.org/be-the-one to give today. That's shepherdcommunity.org/be-the-one.
Thinking of popping the question? Diamonds Direct has an offer you can't miss. This month only, buy a natural diamond engagement ring of 1 carat plus and receive a free natural 1 carat diamond tennis bracelet valued at $2,000. Imagine giving her the ring of her dreams and her wedding gift all at once. No one provides education, selection, and value like Diamonds Direct. Your chance to get a free tennis bracelet from your friends at Diamonds Direct won't last long. Details at diamondsdirect.com.
When life happens, Michelis happens to help you through it. That includes water, storms, fire, and the whole insurance mess. Working hand in hand with the claims adjuster, Michelis is your advocate, your voice, your local trusted advisor for cleaning up, building back, and moving forward when disaster strikes. Now that is an insurance policy. Make it Michelis. Call 844-FIX-INDY.
Now your ideas don't have to wait. Now they have everything they need to come to life. Dell Technologies and Intel are creating technology that loves ideas, loves expanding your business, evolving your passions. We push what technology can do, so great ideas can happen right now. Find out how to bring your ideas to life at Dell.com. Welcome to Now.
Coming up in 2 minutes, a son is charged with the murder of his father. Donnie Burgess has the details, plus how IMPD plans to keep you safe downtown during the U.S. swimming trials, and a head coach talks about his quarterback and how they are playing it safe. That and more coming up from the Technology Recyclers studios after Fox News. You're listening to 93 WIBC, WIBC HD1 Indianapolis. It's 10 o'clock.
Hiring. I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News. 272,000 jobs created last month, way more than expected, over 100,000 more than in April.
The unemployment rate rose to 4% in May. The Federal Reserve is meeting next week. The Fed's been looking for signs of the job market cooling as it considers when to start cutting interest rates.
Fox's Jenny Casola. President Biden just put out a statement saying the great American comeback continues, touting the longest stretch of unemployment, 4% or lower in half a century, saying he'll keep fighting to lower inflation, something former President Trump blamed blames him for. In new Fox polls out, Fox's Jessica Rosenthal reports.
The poll was taken just after the former president's conviction, and in the states of Arizona, Nevada, and Florida, anywhere from 34 to 37% of voters said that conviction mattered somewhat or a great deal to their vote. Among those voters, at least 2/3 said they would vote for President Biden.
Yet, the former president leads the president by 5 points in Arizona and Nevada, a 4-point edge in Florida. They're tied in Virginia. President Biden's about to deliver a speech in France touting democracy and freedom after meeting with Ukraine President Volodymyr Zelensky, offering more U.S. military aid in the fight against Russia.
We count on your continuing support and standing with us, shoulder to shoulder. Thank you so much.
Russia's flexing its military muscle in our backyard.
4 Russian naval ships are due to arrive in Havana early next week, according to Cuba's Foreign Affairs Ministry. One of the 4 vessels is a nuclear-powered submarine, but Cuba insists none of the vessels are carrying nuclear weapons and present no threats to the region. Cuba is as close as 90 miles from Florida. It's been longer than 60 years since Soviet missile placement in Cuba prompted fears of imminent nuclear war.
Fox's Eben Brown. It's day 5 of Hunter Biden's federal trial in Delaware. An FBI chemist just testified, one of the prosecution's last witnesses. The president's son charged with illegally buying a gun in 2018. America's listening to Fox News.
93 WIBC Mobile News. On the level, on the go.
An arrest in his father's death. It's sunny and 70 degrees downtown. I'm Kirk Darling. Here's what's trending at 10:02. A man from Indianapolis went missing last week. Donnie Burgess reports his son has been arrested.
17-year-old David Perry has been arrested for the murder of his father, Brandon Perry, whose body has still not been found. He's been missing since May 26th, says Indianapolis Metro Police. Police say they have multiple interviews, physical evidence, and video footage in the case against David Perry, but he should still be considered innocent until proven guilty. Donnie Burgess, 93 WIBC Mobile News.
If there are any concerns about downtown safety during the U.S. Olympic swimming trials, IMPD is putting many worries at ease.
We hosted several big events, whether that's the Indy 500 or just this year we did the NBA All-Star Game. That was a big thing for our city. So I think our officers are up to the challenge, I think.
Officer William Young says they have a plan and will have a heavy presence downtown during the event. A child's body had to be recovered from the Wabash River down in Knox County Thursday. The DNR has not said much about what happened, but they say that the search for the child started at around 3 p.m. at Kimmel Park in Vincennes. Divers had to be called in to pull the child's body out of the water. A former cop in Fairmount is now facing charges in the death of his former canine partner back in September. Kyle Vincent is charged with misdemeanor animal cruelty for leaving his canine, Zeus, in the back of his squad car on a hot day. Animal experts have not released Zeus's actual cause of death, but the charges were filed yesterday against Vincent. Indianapolis Colts quarterback Anthony Richardson sat out on the last day of mandatory minicamp on Thursday. He had some shoulder soreness, and it's better to be safe than sorry, so says head coach Shane Steichen.
Yeah, we'll have a plan for him. We've talked about it. We'll continue to talk about it here the next couple of days with him, being away for, a couple of weeks. But he'll have a plan going forward this summer, so he'll be ready to roll.
He says he'll be ready for a full camp, which starts in a couple months. I'm Kirk Darling, on the level, on the go, and on WIBC.com.
Introducing Lumi for Men, and we named him Mando. I'm Dr. Shannon Klingman, the inventor of Mando Whole Body Deodorant for pits, packages, and feet, because we all know our pits aren't the only place we get odor. Mando Whole Body Deodorant is different from anything you've ever tried before. It stops odor before it starts, powered by our acidified technology. Mando controls odor anywhere you have it. My patented whole body deodorant formula has over 200,000 5-star reviews. And because Mando has a 60-day stink-free guarantee, you can try Mando risk-free. Give Mando whole body deodorant a try today and smell like the stink-free man you were intended to be.
There's a special offer for listeners. Use code 888 and get an extra $5 off a Mando starter pack that comes with a solid stick, cream tube, 2 free products of your choice, and ships free with code 888. Go to shopmando.com, code 888, for an extra $5 off a Mando starter pack. That's shopmando.com, code 888.
You're listening to Rob Kendall.
When we talk about sending money somewhere, we're talking about printing the money because we have no money.
And Casey Daniels.
My government would never lie to me, would they?
On 93 WIBC.
Good morning. It is Friday, June 7th. It is 5 minutes after 10. You're listening to Kendall and Casey on 93 WIBC. So a Republican township trustee for Etna Troy Township in Whitley County has a side hustle, and it's quite the gig she's doing.
This is a fascinating story. Now, this story actually, apparently, was brought to my attention yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
It is about a month and a half old, and it was put together by, but it apparently has gotten almost no publicity outside of the original. Clifton French is the guy whose name of the guy who did the story initially, and it's for a website called Real News Michiana. Mm-hmm. And outside of this guy doing this story, I cannot believe this is not some sort of national story or something the Daily Show has picked up on. But even though the story is, a month and a half or so old now, mm-hmm. I think it's relevant to discuss because it's fascinating. So Whitley County it's your old neck of the woods.
Yeah, it's up there, Warsaw.
Yeah, north
between Fort Wayne and South Bend.
Right, northeast Indiana. So she is, this lady is a township trustee. Mm-hmm. So for those of you who don't know, a township trustee is, it's really an archaic position. I know some township trustees are going to be very mad at me, but in the modern world in which municipalities have grown and the boundaries of municipalities have grown and things like public utility and various services have been stretched, the township trustee is in many ways a position of days gone by. It is an elected position. Mm-hmm. It is geographically elected. And that person, depending on where you live, might do things such as administer poor relief, ensure public cemeteries are cut.
Maintain the community center.
Right. If you have a fire territory, they're often a seat on that governing board instead of a fire department. So they do still have some positions, responsibilities, but many, many people think that we need to get rid of township trustees. Another conversation for another day. This is what this lady does. Her name is Elaine Western. Mm-hmm. And according to this article in realnewsmichiana.com, mm-hmm. she is a township trustee by day, and by night, mm-hmm. she has an OnlyFans account.
Yes, amateur porn star is how they put it, with her website on OnlyFans.
And it is interesting, she did not deny that this existed. She didn't say, oh, you so-and-so, that's not true, and I'm going to sue you and your family for everything I've got. Mm-hmm. She essentially, according to this article, admitted that she does it.
Yep.
And butt out.
She said she's not doing anything illegal. And so that's that. So she was first elected as a trustee back in 2018, and then she was reelected for the position in 22. And she started her OnlyFans account on October 21st of 22, which was 3 weeks before the general election victory. She ran unopposed, by the way.
So it is part of a broader conversation, which is, while she is 100% correct, it appears she's doing absolutely nothing illegal. It's mm-hmm. fine. It's all the stuff she's doing is totally permitted. What level of expectation should we have from our elected officials when it comes to the ideas of representing the community? Mm-hmm. And I don't know if societal decency is the right word.
What behavior is accepted?
But it is a very fascinating conversation to have, that if you are a constituent of hers, should you be offended? Do you have the right to be offended? And is this really just a conversation between her and her constituents?
Or a conversation between her and her spouse?
Well, right.
And that's it.
I think this is interesting because, like I said, I read through this article and I thought, okay, you represent an entire community, whatever that is. If you're a city councilor, if you're a town councilor, if you're a county commissioner, you represent a large swath of people. That could be hundreds, it could be thousands, it could be tens of thousands. If you're a mayor of a major city, it could be millions. If you're a governor, it could be tens of millions. But you kind of represent everybody. And so part of what you do and how you present yourself is that you would want to do that in a fashion that wouldn't make anybody kind of personally offended or ashamed. Now, your policies are your policies, right? Mm-hmm. And I do think we kind of have a standard and code of decency in our society. And I don't think this is necessarily a great look.
I don't think it's a great look either. But as she says, she's not doing anything illegal. She hasn't tried to keep it a secret.
Right.
There was some concern that maybe she was doing her side gig at the community center, which she's in charge of. She absolutely denied those allegations and said, no, it's not happening there. And she says that she's a busy mama of 4 and a wife. And she does a bunch of other work things. Real life comes first, but she does it to have fun, boost up her confidence, and feel good about herself. Plus, she makes a little extra money doing it.
Yeah, and the libertarian in me says, hey, whatever relationship or financial engagements consenting adults choose to have is between those consenting adults. I do think that there is, but I don't even, when I say this, I'm not even saying like, oh my gosh, she should be immediately removed from office. I don't think that either. She hasn't done anything that would warrant being removed. If the voters of that township find this behavior that egregious, then they can take care of that in the next election.
Mm-hmm.
I do wonder, though, what it says about where we're at with our elected officials. That is that what we want, and now that's what we're kind of getting. Because remember, in Virginia, there was a much bigger. This issue came up last year in Virginia, where the state, I think it was the state house, they thought it was going to come down to 1 or 2 votes. Maybe it was the state senate. I can't remember which one it was. And the Democrat in a swing district, it came out with something similar to this, right? I think she had some sort of online adult presence.
Yeah.
And I believe ultimately lost the seat. And I think that helped the Republicans keep the cape or win or whatever, the House of Representatives. So this obviously isn't like flipping the levers of government, but now you're seeming to see this more and more. And it's a much different conversation than criminal acts like a Bob Menendez is accused of or a George Santos is accused of. But it is sort of eroding the fabric of what we've expected, maybe is the right word, or the norms that we have known from our elected officials. And maybe that's just a commentary on where our society is headed, that people feel they can do this and, hey, it's all okay.
Well, I think the big difference was the one in Virginia. It was out there. Everybody knew what that official was doing. Whereas here, I don't think she was putting it out there quite as much. She said
until she was elected?
Until she was elected, right. Like she started her OnlyFans account only 3 weeks before the election. She ran unopposed. And if it wasn't out there and people weren't aware of it, they're voting for the only name on the ticket.
Well, and this comes back to it's nobody's business but mine and my, I don't know, is it customers or consumers or whatever, and my husband, and butt out. And that was sort of the thing from the Democrat lady in Virginia, which was, well, it's nobody's dirty. No, that's not dirty politics. Your life, when you're an elected person, I know I've been one, your life and the way you live it is relevant.
It comes under scrutiny.
It does. And that's
because
why,
you're a representative of the voters.
That's why good people oftentimes don't want to go into public office. They don't want to deal with it. But part of what you sign up for is the actions that you take are relevant because you get to lord over people. You get to dictate what people can do. And with, what's the saying? With great power comes great responsibility. I think it's totally fair game to analyze it. I think it's totally fair game to commentate on it. I think it's totally fair game to judge her in the sense of that's not what I would expect from an elected official if you believe that. Now, again, I don't think she's done anything that would warrant her being thrown off or thrown out, or she hasn't committed a crime or been convicted of a felony or anything like that. But I do think that a lot of people need to realize, because we're kind of entering the new era, right? We're sort of entering this era of the first generation of people, which would be my generation, who grew up with the internet and people did some wacky things on the internet, right?
Yep.
Well, the internet is forever, and it is relevant. What you do as an elected person, this is a new frontier. Your online behavior, if you're currently doing it, is part of your life. It's who you are, and you will be judged based on it.
So she says that she appeals to men who are interested in farm girls and moms. She is a mother of 4. She is married, and she's saying, hey, I'm not doing anything illegal. Other than that, she has no comment to the reporter who was asking her. And here's the funny part about this. The reporter had to go to her page.
Sure, absolutely. And he posted a bunch of
to get more information because she kept saying no comment.
Right.
So he had to do some digging.
Clifton French is the guy's name who wrote the article. If you want to look up his stuff, if you'd like to read more, realnewsmichiana.com.
I guess if it's okay, with her husband, this is how she's making extra money, and the voters are okay with it, then where's the problem?
Well, we don't know if the voters are okay with it yet because it doesn't.
If they knew about
it, they weren't aware, and I guess we'll find out. So anyway, I saw that. I thought, how has this not been a bigger story? Like, how is Daily Mail or somebody not? Mm-hmm. But you Google search this thing, and this one guy is the only guy who kind of wrote on it, and I was like, well, that's perfect for our show.
It is Kendall and Casey. It's 93 WIBC.
Life's certainties. Taxes.
We'll take that. That's all I had left.
Death. And Indianapolis traffic.
Hey, hon, where are you?
Now, sitting on the northeast side, I'm never coming home.
Do less sitting.
I hate traffic.
And do more living.
A long-term ramp closure.
Matt Baird Traffic.
Eastbound 465 will be down to one lane. Should reopen
mornings and afternoons.
Lane restrictions on the northeast side.
On 93 WIPC.
Getting quality employees to fill positions in your company is essential, but finding those people can be a major hassle, unless you use ZipRecruiter. ZipRecruiter makes finding quality people a breeze. And right now you can try it for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. With ZipRecruiter, one click sends your job to hundreds of top job sites. But more than that, ZipRecruiter's advanced technology identifies the candidates with the skills you need, sends you a list of great matches to review, then actively invites them to apply for your job. And the results speak for themselves. 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. That's right, the first day. Now you can focus on your business and let ZipRecruiter do the work finding the best people for you. See for yourself. Experience the ease, efficiency, and power of ZipRecruiter for free. Just go to ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter.com/free.
Up to 50% off on all of our windows and doors, plus 12 months, no payments, no interest. It's our great granddaddy of a sale.
It's the Kendall and Casey Show with Rob Kendall and Casey Daniels.
I thought you two see that you're in love with each other.
On 93 WIPC.
Well, he was in Normandy for the Normandy American Cemetery at the 80th anniversary of D-Day, your president. And while he was there, he got interviewed by David Muir from ABC News.
Was this before or after he allegedly soiled his britches?
It looked like it was after the ceremony. They sat down, and the sun was shining in Joe Biden's eyes, and he seemed very sleepy. And, of course, David Muir, to do his part, really slowed down the pace of the conversation. And it really seemed that Joe Biden was out of breath big majority of the interview, and David Muir was talking very softly to him, and of course he looked like he was about to fall asleep. So I thought we could roll through some of the questions. One of them was that David Muir asked him if he was going to pardon Hunter in the gun trial case, because that's probably going to wrap up before Joe Biden leaves office. And he said that he would not pardon his son.
As we sit here in Normandy, your son Hunter is on trial, and I know that you cannot speak about an ongoing federal prosecution. But let me ask you, will you accept the jury's outcome, their verdict, no matter what it is?
Yes.
And have you ruled out a pardon for your son?
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Do you believe him?
Well, first of all, he sounds 133 years old.
He had a long day.
Can we just play that? I just want people to listen, not even to what he's saying, but how. Like, can we play that again?
That's what I'm saying. He sounded out of breath, and he was really sleepy throughout the entire interview.
As we sit here in Normandy, your son Hunter is on trial, and I know that you cannot speak about an ongoing federal prosecution. But let me ask you, will you accept the jury's outcome, their verdict, no matter what it is?
Yes.
And have you ruled out a pardon for your son?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
He sounds like some old man who has been working in his yard all day and is very winded after, tending to the garden and cutting the grass and raking the leaf. I mean, it's like, this is our president?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Well done, Kylan.
Nice. One of the other questions that David Muir asked him was, why didn't he take executive action on the border sooner?
Do you wish you had done it sooner?
No, because I would have been blamed for blowing up the agreement that was going forward, which was a better agreement than my limited ability to do something.
So he didn't want to take action because he didn't want to get blamed?
So, well, two things. Okay, so let's go back to the Hunter Biden thing for a second.
Mm-hmm.
The laptop has been entered as evidence. Mm-hmm. As in, like, here is the prosecution saying, this thing is 100% real. We submit this to the court, with all the rules and regulations and rigmarole that comes with that. So it's time now to issue an apology to every person who got kicked off of Facebook or Twitter or whatever else. That is election interference right there. That thing was 100% real. Everybody knew it was real. Mm-hmm. It's now been entered as evidence in a court of law as being real. And look at what happened to all of these people who 4 years ago said, here it is, mm-hmm. It's real. That is just amazing to me that it's like, well, things happen, right? I mean, when we talk about election interference, that is the federal government strong-arming with, I don't know if you can strong-arm willful participants, but strong-arming willful people who then became willful participants to prevent people from receiving information that was blatantly obvious to everyone with a firing synapse in their brain mm-hmm. that it was accurate. I just want to go back to that. And by the way, that testimony from old what's-her-face yesterday, that's the brothers...
The ex-wife?
Yes, thank you.
Yeah, crack pipe.
That he was doing drugs.
Yeah, she found his crack pipe.
I mean, so if he's not found guilty, mm-hmm. I mean, look, they'll go to big leaps and bounds to cover things up and manipulate. I don't even know with a straight face how they would even pretend to do this one. I mean, he is the epitome of guilty. I mean, it's just the laptop, the testimony. Mm-hmm. I mean, it's just like, what is your defense to this other than got me?
Yeah. Whoops.
Okay. So I just want to go back to that for a second. And I don't believe for a second he's not going to pardon Hunter Biden. You're telling me that if Biden loses the election and Hunter Biden is sitting in a federal penitentiary
he's
somewhere,
not going to get him out before he leaves the White House.
Give me a break.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. The second thing, the border.
Yeah.
He's acting as though like there was this border negotiation that had been going on from day one. And he's also acting as though his actions in the beginning didn't cause the issue.
Right. He's acting like he didn't take 94 executive actions in his first 100 days to dismantle border security. And then he just sat there and watched it burn. But now he's saying, well, I couldn't do it because I would have been blamed.
Yeah. It is just the lies that these people tell
mm-hmm.
with the straight face. And I mean, it's really sociopathic behavior from a lot of these politicians that, I mean, they will look at you and they will deceive you and they will manipulate you and they will lie. I mean, it's both parties, right? It's both parties. And part of the reason they do it and keep doing it is they're very rarely ever held to account for what they do.
Okay, he was also asked about Donald Trump's trial.
But one thing for certain is stop undermining the rule of law. Stop undermining the institutions. That's what this whole effort is. All the MAGA Republicans are coming out saying this was a fix. This was a jury that this was a judge that set up to get Trump. There's no evidence of any of that. None.
What is they use this term MAGA Republican,
mm-hmm.
and my question is, what is that? So, like, I'm going to vote for Trump, but I've been very critical of a bunch of things Trump has done. Mm-hmm. It's just when I compare Trump to the other psychos that are running, whether it's Biden or Robert F. Kennedy Jr., or that libertarian wackadoo that they picked, Chase Oliver, what other choice do I have? I mean, I've got four. I mean, I guess I could leave it blank. I guess, may end up doing that. But if I vote for Trump begrudgingly because you suck so much and the others who I am totally open to voting for third parties suck so much, am I a MAGA Republican? Like, what is a MAGA Republican?
Right. Is he trying to brand it like it's a negative thing? And where's the delineation when you stop being a MAGA Republican just to a Republican?
I just, he's such an angry, mean old man. And, you don't want to see anyone suffer. But this guy is the president of the United States. He literally makes choices every single day, or somebody makes them for him at this point, that affect 330 million people.
Mm-hmm.
He can't even...
Imagine him in a high-powered negotiation.
Oh, my gosh.
with national security on the line, this guy can barely stay awake or keep his breath in line when he's talking to David Muir.
Yeah, I mean, it's a real
softballing question.
Well, right. And what is amazing to me is the extent to which the media covers for this guy. It's like, even if you agree with his policies, aren't you embarrassed that this is the face of our country? Like, in 40 years, let's see, so Reagan, in 35 years, we have gone from Ronald Reagan to Joe Biden. I'm not even talking about their policies. I'm talking about who they are as human beings, the way they carry themselves, when they walk in a room, the feeling that people get. We have, in 35 years in this country, gone from Ronald Reagan to Joe Biden. That's unbelievable.
I understand when you interview somebody, you try to match their energy. If they're really high energy, you got to bring it too, because there's going to be such a difference if you don't. But why does David Muir feel the need to come down to his level so far?
Because they're cheerleading
down?
for him. They're an arm of the Democrat Party. They're essentially a legalized campaign arm, which they don't have to write it off as an in-kind contribution.
And keep in mind that Biden's sitting there saying, stop undermining the rule of law. Well, he's the guy who's weaponizing the court system and also defying the Supreme Court with the student loan transfers.
Yeah. Hey, do we get any good voicemails again?
Yeah, we got a couple coming up.
Oh, excellent.
It's 93 WIBC.
Listen up, Hoosier. This is Gunny speaking, and I'm here to tell you what Senator Todd Young is doing about the mess Biden's creating at the border. The Laken Riley Act ain't no walk in the park, soldier. It's a mission to secure our border. When illegals think they can just waltz in and wreak havoc, they got another thing coming. Senator Young's legislation is going to lock them down tighter than a drum. Young ain't just sitting around saluting. No, sir. He's stopping flow of fentanyl like it's enemy number one. Fighting the flow of fentanyl into Indiana from our southern border, and recognizing that it's causing Hoosier families to lose loved ones far too soon. Joe Biden is responsible for this crisis, and Todd is stopping him. It's time to build the wall, enforce tough immigration laws. Todd Young, I'm a Reed, fighting to protect Hoosiers. Hoorah! Paid for by Hoosier Honor PAC. Hoosier Honor PAC is responsible for the content of this advertising, not authorized by any candidate or candidates committee. Learn more at HoosierHonor.com.
If you can't get a good night's sleep, let me ask you, are you breathing well? Because if you're snoring or waking up each night with a stuffed up nose, or frustrated with your CPAP mask, the root of your sleep problem lies in your breathing triangle. And if any one of those passages isn't working, you won't sleep well. And there's no mattress, pill, or other gimmick that can fix that. I'm Dr. Madan Kandula. A recipe for a good night's sleep starts with an open airway. Now, there are devices that can help solve snoring or sleep apnea problems. If you walk into a sleep center, know you'll walk out with a CPAP. And you might find other options elsewhere, but the simple truth is, if your nose doesn't work properly, no device will help. Only at Advent will you find every effective snoring and sleep apnea solution, along with a world-class team that can get your nose working properly again.
Go to adventknows.com to schedule your appointment, because Advent knows when you breathe well, you live better.
There's a price war in the insurance business, and you may be paying too much. Call the Term Lifeline right now and see if you can save 40%. $500,000 plans and up, that's our specialty. Even great smokers' rates. Protect your family today. Call the Term Lifeline right now for a free quote. 866-549-TERM, 866-549-TERM, 866-549-TERM.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm.
Is your timeshare suffocating you? Are you feeling powerless because you were sold a bad investment that is nothing like you were promised? I'm Chuck McDowell, founder of Wesley Financial Group. If you're ready to get rid of that timeshare, I'll send you our Timeshare Exit Information Kit free, exposing the timeshare industry scams with all your options for cancellation.
Call 800-653-1188, 800-653-1188, 800-653-1188.
I had changed the locks, didn't even know where she was living. And then one night she calls to say she's getting treatment. Can I drive? I almost hung up. But then I thought, that's my kid. I chose to put away the hurt and the fear and just see my girl.
Addiction is a disease. Standing by a loved one as they fight it will test your faith, patience, and sanity. But it's possible when you see the person, not just their disease. Learn more at cbeyondtheaddiction.org. 93 WIBC Mobile News. On the level, on the go.
The trial continues. Radar is clear. It is 71 and sunny downtown. I'm Kirk Darling. Here's what's trending at 10:30. Another day of Hunter Biden's federal firearms trial is underway in Delaware. Prosecutors said that they will call 2 more witnesses before resting their case today. Hunter is accused of illegally buying and possessing a gun while being addicted to drugs back in 2018. His father, President Biden, meeting with Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky in Europe today.
Today I'm also signing an additional package for $225 million to help you reconstruct the electric grid.
The White House clarifying that aid is actually for the defense of the country's electrical grid. The Boston Celtics are 3 wins away from a record-setting 18th NBA championship. They crushed the Dallas Mavericks 107-89 last night in Game 1 of the NBA Finals. Game 2 will be played in Boston on Sunday. I'm Kirk Darling, on the level, on the go, and on WIBC.com.
You're listening to the Kendall and Casey Show on 93 WIBC. It's time to hear from you. Kendall and Casey present Voicemails. Brought to you by QC Kinetics for non-surgical regenerative medicine treatment at 317-559-PAIN.
Here we go with the Friday edition of your voicemails. The phone number, if you'd like to get involved, 317-684-8444. It is Kendall and Casey on 93 WIBC. So the other day we had somebody call in and he was asking a favor of everybody to not go to any car dealerships because he needs to buy a new pickup truck. He said, if nobody goes, maybe the price will come down for him and him alone. Well, somebody else called and wanted to give him some advice on what he could do.
Hey guys, it's your caveman caller from yesterday. Heard your caller today about trying to buy him a new pickup truck. Passed along my information. I've got a program. Go sell blood twice a week or plasma. You make about $560 a month, tax-free, that Uncle Sam can't touch. That's a payment on a 2020 pickup truck. Have a good day. Love your show.
Okay, so that's where we are right now. Give blood so that you can afford a vehicle.
You ever given blood for money, Casey?
No, I've given it for free.
Ever pondered giving blood for money?
No.
You'd be surprised how much you could make.
According to him, enough to have a payment,
like
monthly payment for a truck.
I think the plasma's where the money's at, though. I think that, right? Yeah, the plasma's where the money's at. That's more valuable, but you can't give it as often. I think it takes more out of you, and I think that's why.
I don't do well with needles and bloods and
Really?
all of that. I'm one of those people who gets lightheaded and has to sit down and they freak out. Do you need orange juice? What do you need?
Look, I'm no expert on anything,
Yeah.
but I'm guessing like giving blood every so often is a very fine thing and very wonderful and obviously is needed. I'm guessing the human body is not meant to do that like on the regular, though, especially not in a profiteering type of fashion.
Yeah, not to make ends meet, for sure. Another phone call. Somebody has a hot take about Joe Biden and the border.
Hi there. Pursuant to the recent border closure or securing by the president, there's been comments made about surely people will see through this. No, they won't. You see the evidence of this all around you every day. We continue to have this fool in office, and even my own in-laws will go to the mat defending this guy. No, there's no cognitive decline. Oh, the economy's great. Well, no, people don't see how horrible things are, and that's why we're in the situation we're in. Thank you.
And you wish they would see it.
Well, it is. I mean, it is interesting how you could not. I mean, unless you're a super wealthy individual, how regardless of what party affiliation you are, you couldn't notice that things are really bad in the country, right? I mean, like that things are really expensive in the country. That society is not doing well. I do wonder about that because I obviously have never been in that mold, but I've waved bye-bye to any sense of loyalty or love for a party long ago. And so I've always looked at, everything with an independent sort of lens and questioned sort of everything. But there are people who it's so weird. Like, do you think these parties care about you? You think they like give two damns whether you succeed or not? Why would you be loyal to people who are failing you? It's just a letter. It doesn't mean anything.
Yeah. Well, and we said it's happening right before the election. So that's why he's doing it. He's trying to save himself. And that's it.
Sure.
That's the politician there in a nutshell.
I remain amazed, and I know we've mentioned this many times before. I call it the Taco Bell test. That if someone screws up your order at the Taco Bell or the Wendy's or the McDonald's, that person can't even get out of the parking lot before they have hit send on their local townie Facebook chatter page, ripping some 16-year-old high school kid a new butthole because they, gave him the chicken burrito instead of the beef. But yet when your government just blatantly just abuses you and lies to you and screws you over, you can't even get people interested enough to go vote.
Well, that's okay. But how about that guy? Did he say it was his parents or his in-laws?
In-laws.
In-laws. Ooh, boy. Holidays are fun around his house.
Well, thankfully my wife's mother is very conservative, but I would not be afraid to torch a you know me, Casey. I'm not afraid to torch a relationship.
You had mentioned about mixing your sodas.
Yeah.
Earlier this morning.
Suicides.
Yeah, the suicides. Here's a phone call about that.
Yeah, I just heard Rob talking about when he was a kid in Little League mixing sodas and all like that. Well, I'm much older than Rob, and when I was in Little League, that was a common drink. You'd go to the concession stand and you'd ask for a suicide, and the person running the concession stand knew to put a squirt of every soda into the same cup. So it's been around for years. It's not something that you created, Rob. Love your show. Thanks, guys.
He just attacked you out of nowhere. I don't think you said you created it. I think you said it's just something you did.
I used to get angry about things like that, and then it's just like you can't even get angry anymore. Like at no point did I say that I had invented this, or I said I figured out I could do it.
Right.
I also figured out somewhat I could ride a bike and I could walk, and that if I stared really hard at the scrambled channel of 77 and 78 when everybody else was asleep, I could see porno, right? I mean, you figure things out at different times in your life. At no point was I like,
I invented this. I think they just like to pick on you because they know you can take it.
Here is the thing I would say, though, is I did not ask people to make me one of those, though, because it's so time consuming. Like if you're some parent running the youth football or baseball concession stand,
and little Rob Kendall comes bounding up.
Yeah.
Oh boy, here he is with his massive drink order.
They're trying to move you along to give the next person the stale hot dog behind you, right? I mean, I will do it myself if I'm at the, it's a McDonald's or Dairy Queen. Most of these places now have the serve your, although McDonald's is apparently, it's going away.
Yeah.
But, yeah, I would do it myself. I would not ask someone to be. It feels like a servant type of thing.
I know you haven't been to a movie theater in forever, but that's one of the features that they have there. It's the self-serve Coke machine.
Oh, really?
And you can do the suicide because you can pick a little bit of every flavor that you want.
Well, and here is the one little trick on the suicide, and this is why I didn't like other people doing it for me. What you would get on top is generally the overarching taste of the drink. So like with mine, I laid it out. I will do the diet first, the most amount of it's diet. That way you don't have the sugar, et cetera. Not saying diet soda is super good for you, but whatever. Then it would be the Pepsi. And then the top would be the Dr. Pepper, because that becomes sort of the predominant taste of the drink. And then you mix it.
Right.
You mix it. You know how many people are going to be doing this today? Their lunch breaks or go out and do
All
that.
of them.
There are people right now who've been thinking about that. Like that sounds. My wife, when I first met her, I did that, and she looked at me like I had turds
She
hanging
had
out of my
never
mouth.
heard of that before.
And
Seen
then,
that?
and then she drank it, and now every time I go out and get a soda,
She wants the
she's
suicide.
like, "What'd you mix in here?
Yeah.
Oh, that's pretty good."
Vodka, honey. That's what I mixed in there. We had a conversation yesterday about the speed limit and how over the speed limit you can go without getting in trouble, and there's a call about that.
Hey, good morning, Rob. Good morning, Casey. Hey, I want to weigh in on this debate about the speed limit. So I was on 65 South heading back to the terminal in Greenwood. I was pulled over by a state trooper. I was going 57 in a 55.
That's bad.
He must have given him a dirty look or something. He did something. No way. 2 over, and he's getting pulled over.
Maybe it was that quota thing we talked about.
Was it the end of the month?
What's it? They didn't say it's not quota. It's something, right?
It's a suggestion. Right. Maybe he got a soft suggestion from his boss that morning. He had to give out more tickets.
And I can say this as a child of a federal law enforcement official. I generally think, and obviously there's exceptions to every rule. There are probably some cops who are just complete a-holes, just like every other profession.
Sure.
But I generally think that, especially in the modern era and what the crap cops have to go through, that they tend to know people, the fault is they want to hate you and badmouth you. I think they generally, and I say generally, not always, want to leave you alone and let you go on your merry way and go about your business. Now, I'm sure there are probably some bad actors and some guys who use bad, see the Scotty Scheffler cop as people who use bad discretion. But, I tend to think in general, cops are people, they oftentimes live in the communities they serve, and they don't want to deal with you any more than you want to deal with them.
Have you ever gotten out of a ticket? Been pulled over and either talked your way out of it?
I can say this very proudly. You know me, I'm a notorious rule follower. I have only been pulled over 2 times in my entire life. One was a speeding ticket, and one was a seatbelt violation, and both of those were the most recent one was 16 years ago now, I believe.
Oh wow, good for you.
I'm a rule follower, Casey.
Yeah.
I hate the rules, but I will follow them.
I get out of a lot of tickets.
Yeah, but you show them that picture Merritt posted the other day on social media. Is that what you?
The most recent one was right after the dude was in the hospital. We had just checked him into the hospital. He was very sick, having major surgery. And it was like 1, 2 in the morning, and I was on my way home, and I kind of rolled through a red light.
Sure.
And so I got pulled over, and when he came up to my car, he was like, "What are you doing out this late?" And I was like, "Oh, I just checked my husband in the hospital." And I was trying to show him pictures on my phone, and he was like, "I don't need to see any of that." And I was like, and he was like, "You're almost home. Just get there." Okay. You know?
This would be a question solely for our law enforcement listeners. How do you verify if someone's telling you a story? Like, you could theoretically make up anything. Now, you try to provide photographic proof.
Well, that's what I was like. I'm not lying to you. I'm not making it up.
I would be curious what the standard is if you're a law enforcement officer to go by, if you believe the person, if they're telling you that, I'm in a hurry because I'm fill in the blank and it's some horrific, horrendous story. Is there a vetting process? If you are a law enforcement person, I would be fascinated to hear this. 317-684-8444. What is the standard to try to verify these "you got to let me go because" type of stories?
Okay, 2 more quick phone calls, and then Hammer's going to join us, and this one is about Jim Banks.
I heard Rob ask this morning a rhetorical question about if anyone knew of any one thing that Jim Banks has done since he's been in office. And I have an answer for that. Jim Banks has worked very hard and very efficiently to keep any conservative, patriotic Hoosier from ever running for any political office, along with the 81%.
You found your people.
Yes. Well, it's Banks, Braun. All these people. I will ask the question. If you're some person who's super giddy about, and by the way, somebody's running ads for Todd Young on our radio station right now. He's not up for, is he that nervous that they're
starting early, aren't they?
Re-election for 4 more years. Any of these people, I just fail to understand people who get giddy about people getting elected who have no track record whatsoever of doing anything to help you.
One more phone call, and this is somebody who agrees with you.
Hey, this is the first time calling you guys. I've been listening for, 35, 40 years, though, to all of WIBC. Just want to say, Rob, keep up the great work. You're awesome. I used to always vote Republican, and now I vote independent for almost every single office because the Republicans have failed Indiana. Keep tearing them down, showing everyone what they're doing wrong. You're doing a great job.
That's your fan.
Yeah, that's singular.
You have one.
I thought about this, Casey, the other day. I was thinking about how popular our show is and how popular we are. And I thought, I'd say never. I will very likely never run for another public office. But I was thinking in my mind how I would do it. I really just need, say I ran for governor in 4 years.
Yeah.
I really just need a rich benefactor.
Sure.
Let's say someone like John Rust was that angry about, did you see how much money he ended up spending, by the way? $2.6 million, I think was the total Capitol Chronicle reported to not get on the ballot.
To kick rocks.
Let's say Rust was a vengeful person and was like, let me put this money with someone who might be able to accomplish the thing that I couldn't. You think Rust would give me $3 million? He might. He could lose that and not know it's gone. Think of the damage. I could run
he likes you.
I could run as the Libertarian nominee for governor if Uncle John would give me $3 million. And think of the damage I could do. Hot dang, Casey, let's party.
It is Kendall and Casey on 93 WIBC. Hammer's up next.
Hey, this is Rob.
And this is Casey.
James Briggs from the Indy Star.
911, what's your emergency?
In an emergency, voice is best. But what if you can't call?
Escalated domestic disturbance reported east of downtown. Be advised, alert was received by a 911 emergency text. Caller is hiding in a closet and can't use her voice.
When the situation is too dangerous to make a call, text to 911 Capability Now helps Hoosiers. But in most emergencies, voice is still best.
My sister's not breathing. Please hurry.
In the last 5 years, Hoosiers have used text capability in over 1 million 911 sessions. It's of great help to the deaf and speech impaired and to those in select dangerous situations. Thanks to the statewide 911 board, Indiana leads the nation with all 92 counties having in- and outbound text capability. For more, visit in911.net.
It's good to hear your voice. Help is on the way.
911. Before you text, voice is best.
This is a special alert to all Americans who own a vehicle with less than 200,000 miles with an auto warranty about to expire or with no warranty coverage at all. Due to a decline in the economy, CarShield is announcing a low-cost month-to-month vehicle protection plan that is now available to the public to save any driver out-of-pocket expenses on future auto repairs. Call now to find out how you can pay almost nothing for covered auto repairs. Yes, you heard that correctly. Pay almost nothing for covered auto repairs. An open phone line has been established for all drivers to call for a free quick quote. Call 800-632-4055 now. Drivers who are covered will not have to pay for covered repairs again. This protection plan is at an all-time low. Additionally, drivers who activate this vehicle protection today will also receive free roadside assistance, free towing, and car rental options at no additional cost. Call us for your free quick quote today. 800-632-4055. That's 800-632-4055. What do you have to lose? Call 800-632-4055. Again, 800-632-4055.
Introducing Lumi for Men, and we named him Mando. I'm Dr. Shannon Klingman's brother, the inventor of Mando Whole Body Deodorant for pits, packages, and feet. Because we all know our pits aren't the only places we get odor. Mando Whole Body Deodorant is different from anything you've tried before. It stops odor before it starts, powered by our acidified technology. Mando controls odor anywhere you have it. Her patented whole body deodorant formula has over 200,000 5-star reviews. And because Mando has a 60-day stink-free guarantee, you can try Mando risk-free. Give Mando whole body deodorant a try today and smell like the stink-free man you were intended to be.
There's a special offer for listeners. Use code 222 and get an extra $5 off a Mando starter pack that comes with a solid stick, cream tube, 2 free products of your choice, and ships free with code 222. Go to shopmando.com, code 222, for an extra $5 off a Mando starter pack. That's shopmando.com, code 222.
Getting quality employees to fill positions in your company is essential. But finding those people can be a major hassle, unless you use ZipRecruiter. ZipRecruiter makes finding quality people a breeze. And right now you can try it for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. With ZipRecruiter, one click sends your job to hundreds of top job sites. But more than that, ZipRecruiter's advanced technology identifies the candidates with the skills you need, sends you a list of great matches to review, then actively invites them to apply for your job. And the results speak for themselves. 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. That's right, the first day. Now you can focus on your business and let ZipRecruiter do the work finding the best people for you. See for yourself. Experience the ease, efficiency, and power of ZipRecruiter for free. Just go to ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter.com/free.
Hammer and Nigel here, inviting you to join us as we kick off the weekend every Friday around 5:45 with Beer Sample Friday, brought to you by our friends at Thompson Furniture and Mattress in Columbus.
Hello, listener friends. It is Rob for Life Church, and it is Friday. That means Sunday's going to be here before you know it. And this Sunday, if you're looking for something different, it could be a new church home or even a first church home. And if that's you, can't recommend enough checking out my friends and family at Life Church. Over the years, many WIBC listeners have found a home at Life Church, and I'll tell you what is one of them. I'm one of them. Not hard to see why. You got nothing to lose and everything to gain. Campuses all across central Indiana, Noblesville, Fishers, Eagle Creek, and Pendleton, and amazing online services. Learn more about everything at lifechurchin.com.
Never miss your favorite shows on WIBC. Get your content to go.
Would you like fries with that?
Tony Katz, Kendall and Casey, Hammer and Nigel, Tony Kinnett, The Gun Guy, Home and Garden. Subscribe wherever you get your podcasts.
It is 10 minutes in front of 11 with Kendall and Casey on 93 WIBC, and here he is. Hammer's in the studio.
Brought to you by the Hammer and Nigel Show merchandise store. 4th of July is approaching, Independence Day. Now is the time. If you want to get your patriotic shirts by the 4th of July, so you have them in time for your local fireworks celebration, we've got the 1776 shirt. We've got the George freaking Washington shirt. And newly added, the very patriotic I am voting for the convicted felon shirt.
You had an idea for a shirt the other day that I thought would be great. We have an ad that runs on this radio station that says loose, oily stools.
Yes.
And if we could get that on a shirt pointing down.
Oh, no.
Right, with an arrow either pointing down or to the person next to you, like the old classic podcast shirts that the Hammer and Nigel Show used to have, where it said "This guy pees sitting down" with an arrow.
Right.
I think now, that might be a problem with the Urban One folks. So, but you can get all your merch, Hammer and Nigel Show gear. I hate Rob Kendall shirts. I love Rob Kendall shirts. Store.hammerandnigel.com.
Casey, you were not here yet, but I don't think you understand how big the "This guy pees sitting down" shirts actually were. I mean, and that was before you had the radio show. That was just a podcast only. You'd see them all over the place.
Yes. People would send us pictures of them at like school and church, the best. And there was a friend of ours that had passed away, and his kids, they were all jokesters, right?
Yeah.
So they wanted to get one more, joke on the old man.
Oh, no.
At his funeral.
Oh.
They all had the "This guy pees sitting down" shirts on with the arrow and a thumbs up.
Yeah, that's what you got to do your funeral or whatever. Like, don't make it doom and gloom. I have long said if I don't outlive you guys, I've done something terribly wrong. But if I go before Hammer and Nigel, I absolutely want Hammer and Nigel to do the eulogy, and let's just make it a big old party swinging time.
Yep. I love those stories. Like, there was a Cleveland Browns fan that had passed away, and he said he wanted all of his pallbearers to wear Browns uniforms because he wanted the team to let him down one more time.
That's a good one.
Hey, let's find out how fat you are, shall we?
Let's do it.
All right, so the number you got to beat this week is 238.8. Is that right?
Yes.
238.8. And each week you get on the scale. If you go down, we give you a pat on the back. If you go up, you put $5 in the pot.
All right, here we go.
Okay.
Let's go!
Oh, boy, that wasn't even close.
Let's go, baby!
You didn't
Here
work
we
out.
are.
Looks like we made it.
Let's do this thing.
Did you starve yours? Because you didn't really work out at all this week, right? I mean,
so I worked out this week up until Wednesday night.
Yeah.
I've got this broken toe, and it hurts like hell.
Broke a toe.
So it's the big toe on my left foot.
Yeah.
And like, you don't realize how much you rely on your big toe or your thumbs until they're injured. Yeah. So I banged it against the coffee table, hurt like hell, didn't think anything of it, walked it off. Next couple days, it got bigger and bigger. Now it looks like a potato, and I've got it taped next to the other one. I've been icing it, so I haven't been able to work out for the last 2 days. But we are down 2 pounds.
Yeah.
236.6. We started at 271. Let's go.
Yeah, doing all right.
I am worried about perhaps your treatment plan for this toe, and I'm just going to throw that out there. I don't want to see anything bad happen to you, but I think you've got a fairly risky treatment plan.
Well, here, grown men walk things off, and they just do what they can to survive. I'm not going to sit here and throw a fit like you did yesterday, Rob. I'm just going to be fine and just hope everything clears up.
What are you doing this weekend?
So it's an annual trip that we go on, myself, my 2 boys, and my old man. We go to a Cubs and Reds game in Cincinnati.
Oh, yeah.
Now, my old man is a Reds fan.
Yeah.
That's why Slippery
Red
Jake
Machine.
is a Reds fan. Yeah.
Right. So my old man grew up big fan of the Big Red Machine, Johnny Bench and Joe Morgan and all those guys. But when I was a kid, my parents worked. So they'd take me to my grandparents, and TV was my babysitter, right? And this was the rise of cable. So WGN had every Cubs game on.
Harry Carey, Steve Stone.
The best.
Yeah.
The absolute best. The leadoff man with Steve Stone,
Yes,
one of
sir.
the greatest pregame shows that ever existed. So I grew up a Cubs fan. So it's a little civil war in the house.
Yeah.
Myself and my oldest, Chris, we're Cubs fans. But Papal got to Jake and made him a Reds fan. So we're taking a little roadie tomorrow. Cubs are in Cincinnati for a series that's underway right now. And we eat, we talk trash, and we watch a game.
Well, and I was going to say, like, going with you to something I don't agree with you on sounds horrible because you're just a miserably mean human being.
Well, thank you.
I bet you take this very serious.
Oh, we do. There's a lot of trash talk, and it's, we've got a routine in place. We go to the Hooters that's right across the river.
Yes, sir.
In Newport, Kentucky.
You get on the boat?
Yep. Take that little boat right across the river, walk to your seats, go back on the boat, drive back home to Indy.
Used to love that as a kid, speaking of Harry Carey and Steve Stone. Remember when they would play, was it Three Rivers? Was that the name of the stadium, the Reds? Or that was Pittsburgh? Riverfront Stadium, yes. They would always show, they'd have the cutaway shot, and it was of the boat going down the river. And yes, that's the boat that you are on.
Yes, it's going to be fun. Always a good time to hang out with the fam. But the question I have for you, Casey, Rob, is there something, not overly serious, I'm not talking like politics, that you like but your parents or your husband, wife hate? Like, I'm a Cubs fan, my dad's a Reds fan. We feud on that. Is there anything like that in your guys' relationship?
It was Notre Dame for me and my dad, because my dad went to University of Dayton, which is also a Catholic university. So I grew up hearing, I wish Notre Dame would realize there's other Catholic universities in the country. And
so he was jealous of Notre Dame.
Well, when we lived in South Bend for 25 years, it was a long time before he would finally embrace anything Notre Dame. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Rob?
Well, I mean, outside of my general existence, my father hates Bruce Springsteen. So,
really?
Yeah, that's just, I made him go to a concert with me when I was very, very young because I wasn't going to drive to Chicago. I made him go and sit there and be miserable the whole time. And it was just glorious. It was just glorious to look over at him.
What is the conversation like with Mike Kendall when you're driving him 3 hours to a show he doesn't want to go to?
Oh, pinko commie bastard this and radical leftist that. And, I mean, you know how it goes with him. What is coming up this afternoon on the Hammer and Nigel show?
So it's Beer Sample Friday.
Nice.
We're going to have a good time.
Yeah.
Celebrity beer bong this afternoon. Comedian Scott Long is going to be taking his crack on the beer bong.
Yeah.
That's coming up this afternoon, and we're going to play Sing Along with Hammer for some tickets to the swim trials.
All right. Thank you, Uncle Holka and your big toe. It is Kendall and Casey on 93 WIBC.
The deals and specials are sizzling hot. It's the Central Indiana Gun and Knife Show this Saturday and Sunday at the Tippecanoe County Fairgrounds in Lafayette. The best dealers in the region will be at the Central Indiana Gun and Knife Show. Just $6 for adults. Kids 12 and under get in free. Must be 18 or accompanied by an adult. Buy, sell, trade. This Saturday, 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. and Sunday, 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. at the Tippecanoe County Fairgrounds in Lafayette. For more info, visit CentralIndianaGunShows.com.
The doctor's office that accidentally mixed up your files has your social security number. The power company that mistakenly cut your service has your payment info. And the hotel that lost your reservation has your passport number. You need LifeLock because your personal info is in endless places that can expose you to identity thieves. LifeLock monitors hundreds of millions of data points every second. If your identity is stolen, we'll fix it, guaranteed or your money back. Save up to 40% with promo code NEWS at LifeLock.com. Terms apply.
What if the next time you painted your home was the last time you painted your home?
Our Rhino Shield has been on for 8 years.
Rhino Shield. Call 888-RHINO-41. Don't paint, don't vinyl. Go Rhino.
I'm John Morgan of Morgan & Morgan. For over 35 years, we've grown by offering our clients more offices, more lawyers, and recovering more than $20 billion. Injured? The choice is easy. Morgan & Morgan. Visit forthepeople.com for an office near you.
Up to 50% off on all of our windows and doors, plus 12 months, no payments, no interest. It's our great granddaddy of a sale.
When you're high, you feel different. But if you feel different, you drive different. So don't drive high. Brought to you by NHTSA and the Ad Council.
Coming up in 2 minutes, prosecutors in Johnson County lay out the arrest of a teenager in the killing of a man. Plus, a scary happening for this mother in Evansville. And Donnie Burgess reports on the status of the Indianapolis Colts QB1. That and more coming up from the Technology Recyclers Studios after Fox News Radio at the top of the hour. You're listening to 93 WYBC, WYBC HD1 Indianapolis. It's 11 o'clock.
He's back near the beaches of Normandy. I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News.
American democracy asks the hardest of things, to believe that we're part of something bigger than ourselves.
President Biden atop a French cliff American Army Rangers took control of during D-Day 80 years ago.
Gunfire rained above them, but still, they kept coming.
Praising how they helped turn the tide of World War II.
When the Nazis cut the ropes, the Rangers used their hands, and inch by inch, foot by foot, yard by yard, the Rangers literally clawed their way up this mighty precipice.
Just wrapping up his speech a few minutes ago, the president said freedom is worth defending. Israel's prime minister will address the U.S. Congress July 24th. And as the U.S. urges Benjamin Netanyahu and Hamas to agree to a ceasefire in Gaza.
United States Central Command says it's re-established its temporary floating pier in Gaza to supply aid to Palestinians affected by war. But it broke apart in bad weather after only 2 weeks of operation. At the time, the U.S. said the pier had been used to deliver over 1,000 metric tons of essential supplies, but there have been difficulties getting the aid to those in need.
Fox's Jonathan Savage. The prosecution has just rested its case at Hunter Biden's federal trial in Delaware after the last two witnesses. The president's son charged with illegally buying a gun, while an illegal drug user back in 2018. We got an update to the economy this morning.
A very strong 272,000 jobs added to the economy in May. That was not expected. And the unemployment rate moving up to 4%. Again, this is a strong report. How will the Federal Reserve react to that?
Fox Business Network Stuart Varney. The Fed has been delaying cutting interest rates with inflation ticking back up recently. Now, President Biden, in a statement, said the great American comeback continues, saying it's been 50 years since unemployment's been 4% or lower for as long as it has. But polls have shown low Biden approval ratings on his handling of the economy. America's listening to Fox News.
93 WIBC Mobile News. On the level, on the go.
An arrest in a months-old murder case. Radar is clear, 72 and sunny downtown. I'm Kirk Darling. Here's what's trending at 11:02. A teenager is charged with killing a man in Greenwood back in December.
Well, this is a case that, according to the probable cause affidavit, there was an agreement between two people to rob a person who was selling drugs.
Desaria Dyson, who is 15, facing 45 years in prison, says Johnson County prosecutor Lance Hamner. He says it was a drug deal that went south. Two people are facing charges for running an illegal online gambling operation out of Morgan County. Robert Vincent and Timothy Van Wenswale are charged with felony counts of money laundering, promoting professional gambling, and more. You'll likely see a heavy police presence if you plan to go to downtown Indy for the U.S. Olympic swimming trials next weekend. Officer William Young tells Wish TV it's all part of a plan.
We put on this uniform every day because we enjoy serving the citizens of Indianapolis and those who visit our city.
He won't expound on that plan, but he says they rely on a lot of experience since Indy hosts a lot of other big sporting events. A woman in Evansville had a scare on Thursday when a tow truck driver repossessed her car with her newborn baby daughter still inside. The driver took the car after the woman had gotten out only for a moment to drop off her son at daycare. Not long after taking the car away, the driver noticed what had happened. Police came and took the baby back to her mom. No charges are expected to be filed. Indianapolis Colts quarterback Anthony Richardson sat out of the last day of minicamp due to a sore shoulder.
That's no big deal, says head coach Shane Steichen. I'm Donnie Burgess.
Rest assured, if we played on Sunday, he'd be starting. He just had some soreness in his arm, so we're just precautionary reasons, just held him out today.
Steichen talking to media Thursday. He says minicamp and full practice are both carefully laid plans, and everything is being done with Richardson's health in mind. Indy's top QB says he's ready to get back on the field with the team.
WIBC's Donnie Burgess reporting. I'm Kirk Darling, on the level, on the go, and on WIBC.com.
A healthy weight, more energy, and smooth, regular bowel movements. 3 things everyone strives for.
It's me, Chuck Norris. There's one really important thing we don't talk about enough: our health. Achy joints, digestive issues, weight gain, and fatigue. We are told these are normal signs of aging. So working with a team of health experts, we came up with Morning Kick.
Morning Kick is a revolutionary formula combining 10 different supplements in one. Probiotics that help you lose weight, prebiotics for digestion, superfoods for muscles and joints, and several of the most powerful anti-aging supplements on earth. It'll help you feel youthful, energized, focused, and help manage stress.
Anybody can achieve great health regardless of their age.
Go to roundhouseprovisions.com. Use code EASY or text EASY to 511-511 and claim 40% off today.
Every purchase comes with our 90-day money-back guarantee.
Text EASY to 511-511. Morning Kick. These statements have not been evaluated by the FDA. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease. Tax fees may apply.
You're listening to Rob Kendall.
When we talk about sending money somewhere, we're talking about printing the money because we have no money.
And Casey Daniels.
My government would never lie to me, would they?
On 93 WYPC.
Rob.
Yes.
I got a response.
Oh, my goodness.
From the booking agency for Dog Star.
Ooh. Okay, so that is Keanu Reeves, who you believe is very well assembled. He is coming to the State Fair.
Yeah.
At the free stage in August, is that right?
Yeah.
And you decided you wanted to, because you love his music.
Let's do an interview.
You wanted to do an interview with him, and you sent some sort of inquiry to the people who represent him.
Yeah, and they got back to me.
Okay, let me take a guess, and we'll see how Casey will verify. I have no idea what the
response is.
I did not even know until a minute or so ago that you got a response. I'm going to guess they offered you someone in the band other than Keanu Reeves.
Other than the bass player,
right,
Keanu
that's correct.
Reeves.
He is because he is the bass player, right?
Right, he is. He is. No, it wasn't even that good.
Oh, no.
They said, I'll submit it, but I don't know their availability. So
what?
Yeah, we can
That's
request.
literally the response?
That was the response. Yes.
There's no way that they wrote it like that.
They said, please email me your Dog Star request. I'll submit it, but don't know yet if they're available. I'm sure they'll be available.
This is what's always.
I'll specifically request Keanu too.
Yes, make sure.
We don't want the other guys.
Yeah, we've got Larry's calendar day is wide open. Keanu, nothing.
Totally booked.
This is interesting to me. Sometimes how these larger artists, or let me rephrase that. Known quantities. How about we say that? How I'm talking both. In this case, Keanu Reeves, who is known for something else. Or older artists who are no longer selling tickets how they once did, how hard it is to actually help them get publicity for their...
Help me help you.
For their thing.
Yeah.
We ran into this a couple of years ago with Jackson Brown. He was playing at White River, and Matt said, oh, yeah, I'll take care of that, thinking, look, Jackson Brown is not selling out anywhere anymore, and so surely he'll want to do something to promote his stuff, and Matt sent a thing in, and they were just like, nope, he doesn't do interviews anymore. It was like... I guess you just simply don't care. Maybe they're that big that they don't care. I kind of maybe, though, have a feeling you might get something on this because you would assume he would like to talk about. Now, I would think you would get something with parameters.
Well, that's what I'm saying. There'll be all sorts of stipulations with it. Like you can't ask him about his acting career.
Sure.
We're not going to talk about The Matrix.
Right.
Or anything like that. It's got to be band focused only.
See, this is what we ran into when we got Niels Lofgren. When we had Niels Lofgren on the show last year, they said you have 10 minutes and you can only ask 2 Bruce Springsteen and or Neil Young questions. Which it's like,
how do I narrow it down?
He had a new album out and the video that I think corresponded with it. And I've always kind of gone back and forth on this because I get it. If you don't put some parameters, it's going to be some Chris Farley sounding guy going, remember that one time in Speed when the bus went really fast and you couldn't get off the bus?
That?
You remember Dennis Hopper?
Remember
what was
that?
it? So you don't want that. They do want to talk about the band and the event. However, that's the thing you're known for. Nobody's actually coming to see you because you're a great bass player.
He'll be like Judd Reinhold. I don't want to talk about.
They love
days.
Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure, right? I mean, so I do. It would be a bit of a balancing act, right, to set parameters so that you can talk about the thing by which you wish to do. I would actually think if you vet properly the outlets you're going to, like you're a professional, okay? So you know there's some decorum that comes with, hey, this guy is doing this because let's make sure we get him. You know, if you have a skilled enough broadcaster and you put him in the right venues, you shouldn't really need the prohibitive framework by which to operate. I think you'll get it, and I think you'll get it with boundaries.
You think so?
Yeah.
All right.
Heavy boundaries.
Well, fingers crossed.
Will you take it? Will you let Keanu Reeves boss you around?
Yes. If we're being honest here.
Okay, very good.
Yes. It is Kendall Casey. It's 93 WIBC. A new poll came out. It says 70% of people want Joe Biden and Donald Trump screened for pharmaceuticals when they face off June 27th for the debate, and then again on September 10th.
I don't have any problem with this. I think they both should absolutely do this, because with either one of them, I think you might get a positive ding. I'm absolutely support this. What does that say about our society, Casey? That in 330, and by the way, is Kennedy just out? Like what?
Not included in that debate?
I mean, well, I haven't heard. I mean, it's June, what, 28th? Is that right?
27th.
27th. So you are 20 days away.
Yeah.
Is Kennedy not going to be included?
Not presently.
He's polling at, whatever, between 10 and 15% nationwide, and they're not going to let him in the debate?
Nope. Apparently not.
Oh my gosh.
So,
but I'd want him screened too, because his views are even more wacko than the other two on a bunch of stuff. I mean, but this is what an indictment of us. What an indictment of us as an electorate, that we are so bad at picking candidates that we want them drug screened.
Well, you remember how Donald Trump said that Biden was all jacked up and high as a kite during the State of the Union address, right? So
hard to argue.
Right. It's not completely unfounded, but 70% of people want both of them drug tested.
Well,
but Trump doesn't drink, he doesn't smoke, he doesn't even really do anything.
Look,
like
I
that.
have no problem being fair and square and saying everybody's taking the drug. It's like, now you were in school before I was, so I don't know.
Just a day or two.
Well, I don't know. They probably didn't have the mandatory drug screening when you were in high school.
No, they didn't have the letter like
when I was in
dazed and confused
junior high and high school. In order to do any extracurricular, and this is how they legally got around it. They couldn't force you into a drug test, but in order to do any extracurricular activity, be it sports or music or whatever, you had to consent to drug testing. So they got 90% of
participation,
the student populace this way. Now, my senior year, I deliberately, and I made a big deal out of it, said, I am not doing anything extracurricular because I don't want to take the drug test.
I don't want to be, you don't want to submit to that. So only 30% of these people thought that Joe Biden used drugs to help him with his job. But
what percentage?
Only 30%. So 70% want him tested, but only 30% thought he was.
No, I think that's a huge indictment that a third of the American people think the president is on drugs. Like even whatever president you disliked the most, Carter or Bush or Obama, nobody was walking around going, that guy's probably doing, uppers or downers or whatever before he's going out. I mean, a third of the American people think the president is on drugs.
Well, you never know which version you're going to get, because when you look at how he was during the State of the Union address, and he did seem all jacked up, as Donald Trump said. And then that interview we aired earlier in the show he had with David Muir, there's such a big difference between the two. Well, it's like either the drugs aren't working anymore or he chose not to use them that day.
Well, I saw somebody post this, and it was on the internet, so it has to be true, but I did think there was some merit to it. And any person who is, I'm not even saying an illegal drug user, I mean, these very well may be prescription under a doctor's orders, whatever, will tell you, I mean, you build up a tolerance to things.
Right.
And you got to keep doing more and more. I mean, that's where people who use illegal drugs get into big trouble, and that's why, unfortunately, that and the fentanyl, so many people overdose or die unexpectedly. But you've got to keep doing more and more and more to get the same result, because your body builds a tolerance to it. And so it wouldn't surprise me that they have to be super selective, because I mean, again, how much at his age of 137 can his body even take?
Right. So a former White House physician who is now a Republican lawmaker said that President Biden's mental fitness is now a matter of national security. And she's written an article about it. And she said that he's got significant issues. He shouldn't have the job. It's national security for all of us. And Donald Trump just yesterday announced that his campaign raised $400 million since the New York City guilty verdict.
More campaign funds were given to this campaign than any campaign they think in history. Almost $400 million. 400! No, it's never been, nobody's ever seen, because they know it was rigged. They know it's a corrupt system. They know all about it, but with your help, less than 5 months from now, and we're going, and I'll tell you what, we have to change the system. We have to straighten out what's going on in these courts. We got a rigged deal going, this whole country, and we've got to do it, and those appellate courts have to step up and straighten things out, or we're not going to have a country.
You don't raise that sort of money in that short amount of time without stirring some sort of emotional reaction from people.
Yeah, my question on this is, and this is what we saw in 2020, and this is what I tried to warn people about, because you go to these events, and I remember going to one of these boat rallies in Geist, and there's all these people, and you're like, oh my gosh, Trump is going to beat Biden's, by 30 points or whatever. And there's no doubt those people are immensely passionate about supporting Donald Trump. And I have no doubt those people are passionate about giving to Donald Trump. I do wonder, though, is it new people or is it just
the same people?
The same people, because that's how you win an election, is new people into the process, new people engaging. And so I do wonder with Trump, because he does have such a very passionate, loyal, hardcore fan base, is it just the same people that are going to the boat rallies that are given, or is this new people that he's bringing into the process?
Well, you've been critical of some of what his administration has done in the past. And Rand Paul has not endorsed Donald Trump yet. And here he is talking about what Donald Trump needs to do to get the support of Rand Paul.
When we have agreed, I've been very supportive. When we have disagreed, I've also disagreed with him. I think that it's important, if he wants to get my vote and my support and wants me to be more active in this, that he's going to have to be more vocal on things like the lockdowns that I opposed, like the civil liberties abuses that I opposed, like the debt, which frankly has been bad under Republicans and Democrats. So I'm looking for a little bit more before I make a final decision. I'm supportive of Donald Trump, but whether or not I take an active role, endorse, and go out and campaign for him is something that's yet to be determined.
Yeah, so this is the thing that I struggle with, which is two things can be true at the same time. I can know with every fiber of my being he's getting totally screwed and railroaded for political purposes on what's going on and think that's wrong and oppose that and fight that. I can also tell you I'm hesitant to vote for the guy again, even though emotionally I want to vote for him because he's getting so screwed, because he did do some really inexcusable things, especially as it related to the COVID stuff, to which he's never apologized for. He's never said he was wrong about. He's never said what corrective action he's going to do to ensure that it won't happen again. And I have to hold Trump to the same level of accountability that I do the people down the street from us.
Right.
And I would never vote for somebody who wouldn't do that at a local level. It's part of my deal with Braun is he won't tell us what he wants to do on anything. So wouldn't that make me a hypocrite if I go, well, just because Trump's getting screwed by the Democrats and the things getting weaponized against him, I've got to ignore that he hasn't actually...
The other things that he did.
Right, he hasn't actually told us how he's going to make this country better and how he's going to ensure what happened in 2020 doesn't happen again. Wouldn't that make me a hypocrite if I just roll over out of some emotional feeling to the guy?
If he went through like the 3-step process, do you think that would do it for you? If he said, you know what, I did this wrong, I'm sorry, and we're going to do it this way going forward.
Yes, it's the same thing with Braun that I have said. My opinion about Braun is based on Braun's actions. If Braun had come out and said, here's what we're doing about government spending, here's what we're doing about property taxes, here's what we're doing about the crony capitalism in our state, all of these things, sure, great, sign me up, I'm on board. But when you don't get anything, and the things you do get is him saying, I'm proud that I voted for the largest tax increase in the history of the state. I'm proud that I voted to print all that money during COVID because everyone else did it too. That tells me how you're going to govern, which is big taxes and big government. Same thing with Trump. If you're not saying I'm sorry for what happened during COVID, I'm not sorry for the wrong choices I made, I'm not sorry for the things I did that were clearly harmful to the country, why would I assume you're going to do anything different?
So think about some of America's most patriotic brands. What comes to mind? We're going to share with you a list of the top ones coming up from 93 WIBC.
Tony Katz.
Do they still do mail and caramel?
Caramel, don't ever change.
I love the living statues that sit on the benches. They're awesome.
Yes, that's how people from Greenwood earn extra money. Oh, I'm going to get emails. What have I done? You know everybody here is just in debt and house poor up to their ass. Don't you laugh, Zionsville. You have it worse. $1.13 trillion of credit card debt. Half of that is on the west side of Carmel.
Tony Katz, mornings 6 to 9 on 93 WIBC and WIBC.com.
Everyone's talking about Galaxy Concrete Coating and their transformation, like your neighbor Mike.
Well, the local company that we used first was highly recommended by people in our neighborhood. We did not know until after it didn't work on our floor. It just peeled up like a cheap suit. And so my wife says, we got to do something. And so she started looking around on the internet and she found Galaxy.
Lots of styles to choose from. 4 times stronger than epoxy and a 15-year warranty.
We got Galaxy out here. They got here at about 8 o'clock in the morning and they finished up at 6 o'clock that night. Other than having a beautiful garage floor, you couldn't tell they were here. Just did a wonderful job on it.
Galaxy Concrete Coatings works for any area like patios, garage floors, driveways, and around pools.
Still looks fantastic, and anybody that visits our house, that's all they want to talk about. I mean, they just can't believe how nice the garage floor looks.
Click on GalaxyConcreteCoatings.com and remember to like us on Facebook, GalaxyConcreteCoatings.com. We are out of this world.
The doctor's office that accidentally mixed up your files has your social security number. The power company that mistakenly cut your service has your payment info. And the hotel that lost your reservation has your passport number. You need LifeLock because your personal info is in endless places that can expose you to identity thieves. LifeLock monitors hundreds of millions of data points every second. If your identity is stolen, we'll fix it, guaranteed or your money back. Save up to 40% with promo code NEWS at LifeLock.com. Terms apply.
50% off on all of our windows and doors, plus 12 months, no payments, no interest. It's our great granddaddy of a sale.
It's the Kendall and Casey Show on 93 WIBC.
Anymore, you're just another voice on the radio.
You may not have noticed, but things are getting very polarized politically right now.
I was thinking about this on the way into work today.
Yeah.
At what point does America just tune it all out? Or maybe are they in the process
Are we
of
getting
actually
there right
doing
now?
that?
Yeah. I feel like we are. Like when I talked to my neighbor the other day, and his party that he wants is the just leave me alone party.
And the problem with that is when you tune it all out, while it may for your own mental health in the moment be better, you allow the vipers to take further control of your existence.
Right, and then you pay for it down the road.
I look at the stupid stuff that is done in our society and the tolerance that people have for it. And it is like, I guess people have just said it's too much work to be involved. It's too much work to try. I don't know. I mean, I've just never had that in my DNA, but the older I get, maybe the more it's like, well, if it doesn't make any difference and you just keep getting rejected, why even?
Tired of fighting?
Well, let's just look at what happened yesterday in downtown Indianapolis with poor Ken Colbert. The guy runs to make a difference. He follows the rules of these bizarro, totally rigged rules to keep undesirables out. He even abides by those, which is voting in the 2 primaries, etc. Nobody challenges him. There's a window to challenge somebody. Nobody does. He wins. He gets tons of votes in his community. People like him. They say, hey, you're a good guy. We're going to send you to the convention to be the delegate.
Yeah.
And then after, not only has he been elected, but it's been certified by the election board in Vanderburgh County, then the Republican Party, based solely on the fact that he's voting for Micah Beckwith. I guarantee you, if he'd have been a Mike Braun guy, you wouldn't have heard word one. But because the Republican Party is so afraid of Micah being in there and having an independent voice or somebody who might have the audacity to tell the people what's going on and fight back against the party, They retroactively find some reason, which is, according to Ken, because he gave money to an independent candidate at one point. Think about that. The Republicans espouse this big tent diversity series. We need more inclusiveness. Unless you're a person who doesn't toe the party line.
Right.
And they retroactively remove him from being able to be a delegate. So if you're a voter down there, you say to yourself, what's the point even voting? The vote doesn't even matter. Like, literally, the vote doesn't matter. This guy wins, and then they just remove him.
Well, it's very similar to the story that we started off the show with, the guy who tried to vote Republican, and then the pollster said, no, wait a minute, we think you're a Democrat. We're going to challenge you.
But you can't look to Diego Morales to help, because remember, he wants you to blow the whistle on election. If that's not election interference, Casey, if removing a person who was elected by the voters after they've been elected and it's certified is not election interference, I don't know what is. But, of course, Diego Morales, because he is an establishment stooge, and for some reason, I don't know if it was head injury, amnesia, what, despite my begging, those delegates bought his bullcrap 2 years ago. He's endorsed Mike Braun's toady. He's not going to do anything to help this guy. No. He's not going to step up and, air quote, blow the whistle. So I think what people say is, even when I win, even when I do the right things and win, they just void the election. So people say, what's the point in participating? What's the point in trying?
Retroactively is a very used word right now, or used idea. We're gonna change things after the fact.
Right. And what is hilarious to me about all of this is that the Republicans are doing to Micah Beckwith. The Republican Party of Indiana are doing the exact same thing to Micah Beckwith that they claim everyone should be up in arms and a tizzy about because it's going to happen to Donald Trump.
Right.
They're doing it. They are the election interference. They are the people rigging the elections. The Republican Party is Dominion, right? You know, remember it was Dominion this, Dominion, and it turned out Dominion obviously won that lawsuit because people said things that weren't true. But what they claim, these people claim, the rigged voting machines, whatever. No, the rigged is in the people who control the process. Because now in Indiana, you can win and you still don't get to do the thing that you were elected to do.
So Kohl's, the shopping store, Kohl's, has retroactively said they're no longer going to be a sponsor of the Republican National Convention because of the convictions of Donald Trump.
Well, I think everybody should not sponsor anything Republican. I think everybody should get as far away from the Republican Party as they humanly possibly can. Both of these parties, like, they both hate you. This is what blows my, like, I get that there are these insider club people, and this party stuff is their version of their country club. This is their little Dungeons and Dragons environment. I get that. But if you are a regular person, why would you want to be around any of these people? Why would you want to subject yourself to any of these people? Why would you feel any sense of loyalty to any of these people? Look at how they treat you. Look at how they treat people who don't fall in line and do whatever they want. I mean, I have no idea why anybody would be subservient to any sort of leadership in either of these parties, because they are colossal failures. They've run this country into the ground. They don't like you, and they, even when you beat their rigged system, they will rig it further to keep you out of it.
So you're not one of these people now who is going to be saying boycott Kohl's, because that rally cry is now starting to happen.
I think everyone should boycott the Republicans. That would be great. I wish more people would boycott the Republicans and the Democrats.
Do you pay attention to brands that are more patriotic than others in your mind when you select?
The only thing Casey, I have worn the same clothes. I can't tell you the last time I went shopping for clothes. Pre-COVID was the last time I went shopping for clothes. So the only thing I buy is groceries.
Does it matter to you if it's a patriotic brand?
Do you want to have the grocery conversation again?
What you eat?
Well,
no, because I know you go for price.
Yes, because the Republicans, thanks to all their tax increases, and the Democrats, thanks to their damn inflation, have made everything frickin' unaffordable, and I have to look at price for everything.
So Brand Keys is a company that they come out with this list every year. This is their 23rd annual Most Patriotic Brands survey. And it's not a little survey. They asked nearly 8,000 people. And they do this between age 18 and 65. They balance it men and women, and they try to balance political affiliation affiliation, and they asked people who they think is the most patriotic brand.
What does that mean? You're most patriotic. What does that even mean? Who defines what patriotism is?
Well,
like, I think Edward Snowden is an incredible patriot. He's currently in exile in Russia. I think Julian Assange is an incredible patriot. He's currently fighting for his life not to get extradited over here to probably end up getting the death penalty. I mean, who defines what patriotism is?
The people in this survey do, who they're asking what they feel is. Okay, so the number one brands are always and consistently Air Force, Army, Coast Guard, Marine, and Navy. Okay, but besides that, when you go down to actual products or services, the top winners are Jeep, Ford, Levi Strauss, and they had some newcomers this year, which is kind of interesting. Coca-Cola is also on the list. Disney ranked high. Disney for patriotism.
When was the last time you saw Mickey Mouse wave an
American flag? No, it was a rainbow flag, most likely.
Oh my gosh. I reject everything about this survey, Casey.
80% of these people said that patriotism was extremely important to them when choosing their brand.
What does that even mean, though? Patriotism is extremely important to me. What does that mean? So, like, if I object to my government,
are you more or less patriotic?
Yeah, right. I mean, well, like, so if I'm a company, if I owned a company and I objected to things my government is doing and I wouldn't support different things, does that hurt my patriotism?
Well, some of these brands, they say they value the patriotism. It's a tangible economic advantage
These
that
people
some companies have.
That somebody sitting around, who is the company who did this survey? Does it say?
Yeah, it is. Let me get to it. It's Brand Keys.
Sounds made up, but let's pretend it's real. Brand Keys. Some guy is sitting around at Brand Keys going, man, I got to justify my salary this month. I know. We'll ask people what they think is the most patriotic because there's no way that you can hold us to account on being accurate on that.
10 new brands made their list this year. Barbie. Calvin Klein. I don't even think that's an American company. Target. Heinz, American Eagle Outfitters, Hanes, Converse, Oreo cookies, Revlon, and Home Depot.
I can't.
It is Kendall and Casey. It's 93 WIBC.
For over 40 years, B has celebrated families with our Granddad Sale.
B's first great grandbaby.
B can custom stain your windows.
Choose from colors, including black.
With a lifetime guarantee on color.
Add a beautiful entry door from B.
Right now, we're offering up to 50% off on all of our windows and doors, plus 12 months, no payments, no interest. It's our great granddaddy of a sale.
Call my granddad.
Trust me. 93 WIBC Mobile News. On the level, on the go.
It's time for the defense. I'm Kirk Darling. Here's what's trending at 11:30. The prosecution has rested in Hunter Biden's federal firearms trial in Delaware. The defense is now expected to call Hunter's daughter, Naomi Biden, and his uncle, James Biden, to the stand. The president's son is accused of illegally buying and possessing a gun while being addicted to drugs in 2018. Meanwhile, President Biden is back in Normandy in France this morning.
American democracy asks the hardest of things, to believe that we're part of something bigger than ourselves. So democracy begins with each of us.
Speaking atop a hill that was captured by the Allies in the D-Day invasion. Yesterday was the 80th anniversary of that invasion. Biden met with Ukraine's President Volodymyr Zelensky this morning and promised him more help through executive action in his war with Russia. I'm Kirk Darling, on the level, on the go, and on WIBC.com.
Who is the only real estate expert I would trust with the sale of my home, and I would also trust with finding me a new home? It's Mark Deitel. It happened with Dan and Casey in Indianapolis. They were ready to downsize. They needed to sell quickly, but to make it all work, they needed to get a great price, of course. Mark Deitel made it happen. They got their asking price fast without any repairs or appraisals. The Mark Deitel team delivered exactly what they needed.
Mark Deitel guarantees your home sold at a mutually agreed upon price and deadline, or he will buy it. That is the Mark Deitel guarantee. Pick your move date, no long-term contracts, and you can cancel at any time. Call Mark Deitel today, 317-755-4232. He's the only agent we trust and recommend on the Hammer and Nigel show. You can also go online to markdeitel.com. That's Mark, D-I-E-T-E-L, markdeitel.com.
When you protect your corn and soy crops with Miravis Neal fungicide, you'll start seeing a lot more than just cleaner and greener fields. You'll get longer-lasting disease control, better plant health benefits, less plant stress, higher potential yield, and increased ROI potential. Ask your Syngenta retailer about Miravis Neo and start seeing more green in your fields, on your yield monitor, and in your wallet. Always read and follow label instructions.
Leave low yields in the dust and never look back. Rev up your return on investment with Syngenta. Our innovative portfolio of crop protection products outperforms and out-yields any deal, giving you higher yield and profit potential at the finish line. Syngenta, where better yield is the better deal. Always read and follow label instructions.
Do you have 3 ex-wives and your current trophy wife wants a life insurance policy 3 times the size of the policies you had to purchase for your previous mistakes? If so, you need to call Big Lou at Term Provider, 800-444-9336. Big Lou is intimately familiar with your problems, and if you're 50 or 60 years old and in reasonably good health, a $1 million policy should only cost about $100 to $200 per month. Big Lou may have a solution for your previous policies as well. You may even save enough money to lighten the load on your new $1 million policy. Remember, call Big Lou. He's like you, except he's only on number 2. Call Term Provider at 800-444-9336. That's 800-444-9336. For $1 million in term life insurance that you can live with, call Big Lou at 800-444-9336.
Inside Indiana Business Radio, the news you need to get ahead. Indiana's business news leader, weekdays at 6:32 a.m. and 5:56 p.m. on WIBC.
You're listening to the Kendall and Casey Show on 93 WIBC.
It's a case of mistaken identity. This is kind of interesting. So the Golf Channel interviewed a guy who they thought was Vince Young. The guy played along, wasn't him at all.
This is the most hilarious thing I think I've ever seen in the history of certainly live television.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know if this was at the Memorial Golf Tournament this weekend or where exactly this was, but it's what they call pro-ams, pro-amateur. So usually on a Wednesday before the tournament started on Thursday, there will be a bunch of celebrities in the area, CEO types, sponsors who will play play a round of golf with the professional golfers. And then sometimes there are even tournaments where these guys play pro-ams together, like they're on teams or whatever. And the Golf Channel, this woman who clearly knows nothing about sports, she should be fired immediately. I guess Vince Young was playing. Now, Vince Young is a very famous quarterback. He went to the University of Texas, famously defeated USC in the national championship game in, I believe it was 2005. It was one of the great performances in college football history, and then struggled in the pros, but kind of, was a name and was out there. He must have been playing in this golf tournament, and for some reason, this lady interviews this guy.
Thinking it's him.
Well, she clearly knows nothing about sports because Vince Young is like 3 times the size of this guy. And the only thing you can draw on is she found a black guy.
Right.
And just thought, hey, it's Vince Young. And just starts asking him questions as though it's Vince Young.
Vince Young playing this week, and he's down with Lauren.
In 6 seasons in the NFL, arguably one of the best NCAA quarterbacks of all time in Texas. Picked up golf about 4 years ago. What's the biggest shift you make going from the ultimate team sport to now the ultimate individual sport?
Now, I apologize. You have the wrong person. I'm Everett Sands over Citadel, which I'm a football coach. The thing is, the great thing about golf is I'm not only competing against myself, but competing against everybody else.
It keeps going.
This is your first pro-am ever playing, and what's the best part of being out here?
Well, being out here is a great thing, and having the opportunity to play with some professional golfers is a intimidating thing, but also a great thing.
Good luck this weekend.
Hey, I appreciate it.
I love how she pivots. She's like, Okay, and she asked him a question.
But did she even pivot? And this is the knock on these sideline reporter people. Some of them are fine. Let's face it, some of them are complete bimbos and only there because of the way they look. And I think we've clearly pigeonholed which one she is.
Right.
Because she asked him a follow-up question.
She did.
As though everything he just said didn't register. There's so much I want to know about this, Casey, which is, how does this even happen? Because usually it's like, okay, in this case, Vince Young. He's playing with Tiger Woods. You know, how does this even... He doesn't have a helmet on. You can see him. Vince Young, when he was 22, was 3 times the size of this guy, much less now he's a retired football player. This guy's, fit and, good-looking dude. And, don't you go up to him beforehand and go, hey, Vince, we'd like to get a few questions with you beforehand. What is going on here?
Yeah, she just did a drive-by interview, didn't she?
And the fact that she asked a follow-up question as though Vince Young had actually answered her first question.
Yeah, there wasn't any acknowledgement from her saying, oh, my bad. Well, are you having a good time out here? Who are you?
And you got to love that guy leaned right into it.
He did.
He should have just played along as though he were Vince Young, which would have been even more funny. But then he answers her question, and he goes, yeah, I'm a football coach, though. You might want to talk to me because I'm a football coach.
So there's obviously somebody back in the studio who's tossing it to her, and he thinks she's with Vince Young and sets it up, and she thought
she was with Vince Young.
I know. Somebody must have pointed her in the direction and said, go talk to him. That's Vince Young.
Because, that'll happen while they'll say, Heidi is with, President Bill Clinton. And they say, no, actually, I'm here with President George W. Bush.
Right, she really thought she was with him. It's ridiculous. I mean, he handled it well. He rolled with it.
Inexcusable. As someone who interviews people in part for a living, to not know who you're interviewing. Who are you? I have seen that probably 10 times now, and I just laugh hysterically because that is everything people say about these sideline reporters in one
There it was.
clip. There it is.
There was the example. Okay, so she knew a little bit about Vince Young.
Well, she's reading, clearly
right.
Must have been reading from a card because she didn't know it. It wasn't Vince Young.
It's not him, not the guy. She's probably looking for a job, or they really made fun of her.
No, I guarantee nothing happened to her. I guarantee nothing happened to her, and she won't be fired, that is amazing. Anyway, thanks for just allowing me to do that on the air. I was just beside myself when I saw that.
Have you ever acted like you were somebody else, or have you ever been confused of who you are?
Who would they confuse me for? Casey Brad Pitt?
Yeah.
Who would they look at and go, boy, you look a lot like... I got told all the time I looked like Perfect Pitch Perfect. There's a movie. I get... do you know who she's laughing.
Kylan's perking up.
I look like that guy, don't I? Yeah.
Let me figure out what his actor name is, because I can't even remember.
Yeah, see, I do look like this guy in Pitch Perfect, and I got told that.
I know who you're talking
years
about.
ago,
I can't think of his name either.
And I had no idea who this person was, and it was whenever that movie came out, and they're like, you look like so-and-so, whatever. And it was like, I don't even know who that is. And they put the photos side by side, and was like, gosh darn it, I sure do.
If somebody came up to you and started interviewing you as him, would you play along?
Oh, totally would play along.
Yeah.
I'd let him get through the whole interview.
I feel like he looks more like a bumper. One of
he does
Adam
look like
Devine.
a bumper.
Yeah.
What is
yes, that's his name.
That's the character's name.
Oh.
Pitch Perfect is Bumper.
Bumper.
There's plenty of guys that I feel like they could compare you to, but I feel like Bumper's it.
Yeah.
Ben Platt is a little bit Benji.
Yeah. I don't know. I still don't even know this guy's real name, but they put the photos side by side and was like, oh, yeah, totally. I can,
that's him.
Yeah,
I can
Jesse.
see it.
A little mix of all of them. You should let's get your pipes ready. You're then on the next Pitch Perfect.
No,
yeah, let's
nobody
hear
wants
some
any part of
singing.
that. No.
I like Bumper. That's a good one. It is Kendall Casey. It's 93 WIBC. And in a first, Special Case cereal is featuring a pregnant woman on the cereal box. This is a first for them, a little departure from their traditional marketing norms.
Now, they're the ones if you want to get thin, right? You eat our
right. For a long time, they've been, pinch an inch, that sort of thing. And it's been, where you squeeze your side.
Oh, I didn't know that. Go
That's
on.
an old campaign from them.
Tell me more. Tell me more how it went in the 70s.
But now they're showcasing this pregnant woman on the packaging, and they're kind of acknowledging and celebrating, instead of the need to get thin, the strength of expectant mothers.
Well, I think that's fine.
Oh,
that's
absolutely.
Totally great. There's nothing wrong with that.
It's a new approach, positive body image for pregnancy.
Hey, I love that. All right. Hey, we love pregnant moms and the babies. They're great. All right. When we come back, you had a big conundrum earlier this week. Your daughter had to decide whether she should send a thank you card or not to your mother. When we come back, we've got our expert.
We're going to get the final word.
The etiquette expert,
Yeah.
Susan Beckwith, will answer all your questions.
It is 93 WIBC.
Today, filing for Social Security isn't just about your benefits. No way. The decision could also have a huge impact on your taxes, your IRA and 401k withdrawals, even your Medicare premiums. And if you don't consider these things when you file for your benefits, it could needlessly cost you a small fortune. Learn how you could wring every nickel out of your benefits with a free Social Security analysis from Bill Demery, your retirement guy right here in Indy.
If you've saved more than $200,000 for retirement and have not filed for Social Security, schedule your free analysis right now by calling Bill Demery, 317-648-5120. Bill simplifies the decision for you and helps ensure you get every nickel out of your benefits. Get that free analysis right now by calling 317-648-5120. 317-648-5120.
The search for the temporary fix. It's led you back there again, in the pharmacy aisle, looking for the new and improved pill or spray that will clear up your stuffy nose. And you'll give it a try because at least it helps you breathe, right? Yeah, it does. And it may work, but it's hurting you more than it's helping. I'm Dr. Madan Kandula with Advent, where we've pioneered simple solutions to nasal breathing problems without the pain and inconvenience of surgery. In-office procedures like balloon sinuplasty require zero surgical cuts, little to no downtime, and can have you breathing better in less than 30 minutes. There are few, if any, practices that have been performing the balloon sinuplasty procedure longer than Advent. That's why we're a global destination for those living with nasal breathing problems. Visit AdventKnows.com to see if you're a candidate for balloon sinuplasty, because Advent knows when you breathe well, you live better.
Breathe well with simple solutions. AdventKnows.com.
The deals and specials are sizzling hot. It's the Central Indiana Gun and Knife Show this Saturday and Sunday at the Tippecanoe County Fairgrounds in Lafayette. The best dealers in the region will be at the Central Indiana Gun and Knife Show. Just $6 for adults. Kids 12 and under get in free. Must be 18 or accompanied by an adult. Buy, sell, trade. This Saturday, 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. and Sunday, 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. at the Tippecanoe County Fairgrounds in Lafayette. For more info, visit CentralIndianaGunShows.com.
Gilbert worked in retail and restaurant management for 14 years. It was time for a change.
I recognized where I was at was vulnerable to the whims of the economy.
Then he heard about My Computer Career. Gilbert went for it.
In as little as 7 months, I got all of my certifications at a fraction of a cost for college.
He became an IT pro in just months with zero experience at mycomputercareer.edu.
I can work from anywhere. I have more time for my family as well.
It's not rocket science. It's mycomputercareer.edu.
This is one student's experience. Individual results vary.
Did you know if you have water, storm, or fire damage, the first step is on you? Yikes. It's your responsibility to mitigate damages. Mitigate? Yeah, that's a fancy word for call Michaelis. They'll take it from there, from boarding up, cleaning up, and fixing up, to getting you squared up with your insurance company, which is a whole other mess you can avoid. Make it Michaelis. Call 844-FIX-INDY.
Whatever happened to Tony Horton, the guy who created the revolutionary P90X?
2017, I was knocked down. A very rare type of shingles that went straight into my brain. My body was completely wasting away. I started researching everything related to building my muscle back again. That's when I learned about the potential of HMB plus vitamin D3 and what they can do when it comes to helping build new muscle.
So Tony developed high-impact protein by Power Life.
Just add 1 scoop of high-impact protein to a glass of water or your morning smoothie and enjoy the effects of that boss molecule and factory worker combination. Reshaping your body each and every day. More energy, burn more fat, and probably drop a few pounds along the way.
High-impact protein by Power Life is a tasty once-a-day powder that comes in either whey or plant protein. Go to mypowerlife.com and use code TONE to save 30%. Tony even offers a 90-day guarantee. Go to mypowerlife.com or text TONE to 511-511. Text TONE to 511-511 today. All individuals are unique. Your results can and will vary. These statements have not been evaluated by the FDA. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease. Tax fees may apply.
You want to listen all day to WIBC, but you don't always have time. Don't worry. There's a podcast for that. The WIBC Mashup. Daily highlights from your favorite hosts, Tony Kinnett, Kendall and Casey, and Hammer and Nigel. Subscribe wherever you get your podcasts.
Looks like I'm losing.
Casey, it's time to answer the question that has been on the top of your mind all week long.
Yeah, and it's also the best time of the week because this is our last segment before the weekend.
We're doing what we call killing two birds with one stone.
She signals that it's Friday.
It is the Kendall and Casey Show. I'm Rob Casey's here, and it is the segment as we end our work week each week, sending you into the weekend, your fabulous audience, with the traits and tools necessary to be better members of society. It's Mind Your Manners with our own former Miss Indiana, Susan Beckwith. And this segment, Casey, is specifically for you this week because you had a bit of a conundrum.
Well, my daughter graduated from college, and her grandmother, who lives out of state, sent her a card, and in the card it had a check in it, some money. And my daughter texted her back right away and, I got it, thank you very much, blah, blah, blah. That's how the two of them communicate with each other.
It's great.
They text each other. My question was, does she have to write a formal thank you note?
And then we got a phone call in the voicemail the other day of some lady, very sweet-sounding lady, who was in a mass panic about this. I think was very upset that this is the approach you had taken and said, please get Susan in to talk about this. And even though I think we've touched on thank you notes before, we said absolutely because we are here to serve the public at large. Susan Beckwith joins us now to once again do a kind of a refresher recourse on thank you notes and thanking people for giving you gifts. Susan, the floor is yours. Is Casey's daughter a dirty, rotten, ungrateful scoundrel, or did she do things the right way?
Absolutely not, and congratulations to her on such an amazing accomplishment. But, she did the right thing in the moment that she received it to let her know that she got it. We are all busy, and sometimes that's all you have time for. But also that was kind of their normal mode of communication. But it is still proper to send a handwritten thank you, even if you take time to send a text. And I was just thinking about this a little bit. We've gone away from handwritten thank yous some, but that doesn't necessarily mean it's a good thing. Republican Party is, historically a party of low taxes, and just because we've gone away from, something like that doesn't mean that's a good thing. So, actually, a handwritten thank you would still be proper protocol.
Here's what Emily has to do. I've thought about this as Susan is giving this answer.
Yeah.
She should send a thank you card, and she should start it off by saying, Dear Grandma, I know you don't want this, and I'm doing this against my will, but the lady on the radio said I would be a horrible human being.
Made me do it. Susan, I think what I'm going to have her do is we got some photos of her from graduation, with the cap and gown and holding her diploma. They were professionally taken by Purdue, and I got a copy for Nanny. So I think that we'll send the picture along with the thank you note, and all of our bases are covered. But the one lady who called and was asking about this as well said that, with these online registries today, she will send people gifts and she doesn't get any reply and doesn't even know if the gifts have been received because she doesn't get a text or a handwritten thank you note.
Yeah, you know what? That is so true. I feel like acknowledgement of any type is better than absolutely nothing. So, as far as, I'm still very much a traditionalist and feel like there's such power in taking time to do a handwritten thank you. And Rob, to speak to your point, because you're like, people don't want them. Just remember, they don't have to be novels. It can be very short, to your point. And, try to remove barriers so that it's something that you dread a little less. Because I know people are like, I got to write it, but it doesn't have to be lengthy. It can be literally 2 sentences, but it's just the effort that goes into it that is very meaningful, that you say, hey, I recognize that you went out of your way to do this for me, and I can, take some time to acknowledge that. So I try to always have stamps on hand, have thank you notes that are not gargantuan, so that I don't feel the pressure of like, what am I going to say? So those are some tips that I would pass along regarding thank you notes. And then as far as rule of thumb on when to get them out, we send them after bridal showers, baby showers, a job interview. The general rule of thumb is just to try to get them out as soon as possible.
So Susan Beckwith is our guest. The segment is Mind Your Manners. Susan, I'm going to tell you this. I told our audience this yesterday. I had a lot of trauma as a child because my parents made me send thank you notes. And that was back, when you had to write everything on a piece of paper or whatever. And I used to hate birthdays and Christmas because everything I got, my parents or my grandparents got for me. And so everything else was extracurricular. And while I was thankful that someone thought of me, I just dreaded having to write a thank you note for a sweater or a book. And I feel like I have terrible handwriting to this day because instead of writing the notes properly, I had bad form and bad approach. And this is why no one can read my handwriting to this day, because I had to write all those thank you notes when I was a kid.
I still applaud your parents, though, for instilling in you to be very reflective of that. Somebody was generous enough, and I get it. I do. I will be honest, and there are probably some other etiquette experts that are potentially listening to this segment that will disagree with me, but after we had our babies, we had a meal train where people would bring meals, and we were so blessed by that because you're exhausted. You're up all through the night, and we were so thankful. And I knew I was going to be tired, and like sitting down to then do that felt very daunting. So I actually had a little postcard made up. It was like a photo of us when we had our, pregnancy shoot or whatever. And so, showed us expecting. And then I already had a thank you note printed on there, but then I would add, thank you so much for the casserole. This was amazing. And so I would personalize it, but a bulk of it was already, crafted. So that's another tip that might be helpful to those that are like you and, don't love
lazy. You can say it. It's fine. Lazy people like you. It's fine. Rob, we're doing this for lazy people like you.
Is there a time limit? I know you said as soon as possible, but isn't it within a year?
Yeah, I've heard that specifically with funerals, but with weddings, I feel like the time frame is a lot less. I would say within the first 3 months, but I understand that with funerals just because the grieving process. Sometimes you are just not.
Wait. What are you talking about with funerals? If someone comes to your Aunt Fred's or Uncle Fred's funeral, you got to write them a thank you card?
I think she's talking about the meals.
I got you. I don't have to thank somebody for coming to the funeral.
I mean, if somebody's traditionally sends flowers or like a planter or something, and actually a lot of funeral homes will supply those for you, so you don't have to purchase them, and they're traditionally not huge, and just a little something that you can say, hey, I received it, meant a lot.
Susan Beckwith, tell us about your very fabulous website and Facebook page, Belle of the Midwest.
Yeah, I hope it's a great resource for you on that blog post. There's lots of different topics that cover anything from how to go on vacation, a multifamily vacation, and remain friends after, or, what grandparents can be teaching their grandchildren in regards to manners. So lots of great topics. Be sure to check it out. Subscribe to the email. We are going to do some manners for children's classes starting in the fall, and I don't want you to miss it.
Belle of the Midwest, BELLE of the Midwest.com. Find it on Facebook as well. Susan Beckwith, you're the best. Thank you.
Have a great weekend.
You too. Looks like I've got some work to do over the weekend. Some thank you notes.
Yeah, better tell your daughter to get it in gear and stop being so ungrateful to her grandmother.
No kidding. And that's going to do it for us today. Thank you, Rob. Thank you, Kylan. And thank you for listening. This has been Kendall and Casey on 93 WIBC.
We finally made it, baby. It's the Hammer and Nigel show. We start the party at 3:06. It's Beer Sample Friday this afternoon. Celebrity beer bong and the biggest stories in Indy. Let's have a day. 93 WIBC.
Everyone is talking about Galaxy Concrete Coatings and their transformation. Like your neighbor Dennis.
In the process of refinishing my garage and, trying to turn it into a man cave. So I started searching, online, and I ran across